Hello, folks, and welcome to the post-Halloween, post-humorous special for Cinema Beef. Supposed to be the Halloween special, but it still is. I just got it out a day late or two. This is your host, Gary Hill, with you on this Halloween journey. I'm Sans, my regular co-host on the intro here and the outro, but you'll hear some of those folks later on in the show. First of all, hope your holiday went superb. This is usually a time of the year where I start going into the shits, if you will, the holiday shits, because I cannot stand the holiday season in general when it gets past October 31st, November 1st. I kind of want to draw myself from work because the holidays are not a good time for your beef meister here and getting my own depression here, but I will sit with you. I will eat your food. I will eat your cookies if you send them to me. I love the holiday season in that sense. I never want to ruin anybody's good time. So if you have around loved ones that you want to hang out and do the holiday stuff, more power to you. Go forth and celebrate. But the reason for the season, the reason why we're here, is that we're gonna keep this Halloween celebration pumping. I usually do that. People talk about traditions for Halloween. I'll get into a few of mine, if you will. People like to, drink pumpkin ale. That's not for me. I will do some cider or even a hard cider, if you will. So send those my way too. I love that stuff. That stuff's great. But as far as pumpkin ale, pumpkin whatever, pumpkin spice, everything is not for Gary. It's not at all. But films, people. God bless you people out there that go out there and make detailed lists of this is what I want to watch for the 31 days of Halloween, make these extensive ideas. One day I'll do that, but right now I lack the discipline to say, hey, here's an outline of what I'm going to watch. So right now my stuff's really sporadic. Like one day I'll watch 5. 2 days later I might watch none. Or something new. I've been watching a lot of new stuff lately as far as streaming goes, and don't make it to the theater all that often, but when it comes to VOD, I will check it out. I've been blessed with stuff coming out on VOD and to Netflix and to Hulu. I reviewed Carved with Fresh Cut / No Room in Hell guys, and that's a fun little killer pumpkin movie. It is what it is, and silly in the right parts, gory in the right parts. Mr. Crockett is a brand new horror film that I watched. Sort of a kids host has a phantom video cassette that keeps roaming around, and he abducts the kids, and then once the parents find out, they go inside, and he is insane, and he lives in like a nightmare Pee-wee's Playhouse type scenario, and it's really, really good. The guy who plays Mr. Crockett is also in Carved, by the way. He plays the reporter in Carved. The actor who I know from Godfather of Harlem, not horror related, but still a great TV show for Forrest Whitaker and some other great actors. Traditional stuff though. Halloween Season of the Witch is always up there. Original Halloween, Halloween 2. I'll watch the other ones when I get to them. Not the new stuff because it's just there. Evil dies tonight. Just fucking stop it. Come with some original shit like Carved and Mr. Crockett, and I will be impressed by that before you show me more recycled dreck that I just can't get into, or overly gory stuff with no substance. I'm not a big fan of that either. But those traditions, Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, Trick or Treat, Trick or Treat, both those films, little Sammy Kerr and Sam. They should collaborate and make a movie together. Be phenomenal. Other ones, dude. There's tons of stuff to watch around the holiday season. That they bred, Halloween films for this season, and everybody's got their favorites. And I respect those who seek out new things and make these lists. And I seen one time, and I want to get into probably do like this, where they say the first I'll watch. They're all for different subgenres, and they watch a subgenre film per day that's scheduled. Now, if I had that set up like that for me, you should say, hey, I'll pick a subgenre and say I'll go with it for that day. and maybe I'll watch something really cool that I've never seen. And that's really my horror exploration, is watching stuff that I haven't seen, mixed in with old hat favorites, if you will. Like, I watched one called Going to Pieces, and it's about these people that inherit this house from their rich aunt, and they go there. It's like a Chateau Marmont, like in California, where a bunch of celebrities live there, but a bunch of these old people are just living in this house, and they say that she allowed them to stay there rent free, but they want to kick them out. But it turns out to be way more sinister, the plot to the film, and it's a lot of stupid fun. But go check out Going to Pieces. I bought it for $2 on a digital sale, and I do not regret this purchase. It is a hoot. Very much fun. Dumb stuff, crazy stuff, artistic stuff. By the way, artistic stuff. R.I.P. Paul Morrissey. I just watched Taste the Blood of Dracula and Flesh of Frankenstein once again. I found he passed. I had to watch that kooky ass Udo Kier driven stuff, and I love it to death. Blood for Dracula. The blood of these halls is kidding me. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, usually for Halloween, I will not go out with kids unless, because my legs don't work like that. So what I do is I wait outside on the front slab there for the kids to come and turn on something scary yet family friendly, so I don't get sued by Karen or some shit like that. So this year I was outside and I turned on the old fashioned DTV Halloween special. That's Disney TV. These are the first music videos that I ever got to watch, which is modern 80s music and like 60s and 70s music mixed with Disney cartoons. So they have a whole Halloween special where the Magic Mirror hosted and everything. So like stuff like that I will show outside, or if I feel like, hey, I can show this PG-13 teetering on an R horror film that doesn't have too much bad stuff in it, no boobs or anything, I'll turn that on. But it's enjoyed me to wait outside for the kids to come and give them some candy. And in my neighborhood, they still very much walk around. I think I had like 100 trick-or-treaters. Some folks get like 500 still. So I commend the parents who are taking them out and not adhering to the trunk-or-treat rhetoric bullshit. And this is my main problem with that, okay? It makes your kids more lazy than they already are. And the second part is, most of these places are a church where you do not observe this pagan holiday any other time of the year, but to say, hey, we'll park our cars in a parking lot and make like a spooky house for food downstairs one time of the year, and the rest of the time, y'all pagans can go fuck yourself. I don't think that's cool, man. Keep trick-or-treat shit. I know it's safer. You're not sending your kids out. But, back when we were kids, though, back when I was your age, kids, we used to go, like, scale towns and bring back garbage bags of candy. And it was a sugary fucking mess. It's probably why we have a T-shirt now, is because of those long Halloweens, you freaking rain outside, you put a freaking garbage bag over yourself, and you got the booking to get that candy. But, yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do this little intro, and I watched some stuff, and one of which, is real special to me is Devil's Night is October 30th. This was made popular by a film called The Crow. James O'Barr's creation, Alex Proyas, brilliantly directed, starring the late great Brandon Lee, who unfortunately died during the filming of this. Fragment of a bullet was left in the chamber, shot and killed by accident by Michael Massey. And when I say by accident, it's like the whole thing with this Alec Baldwin thing, where the responsibility of what's in that gun when it's handed to the actor is that of somebody else and not the actor. So Michael Massey, who, felt bad for so many years that this happened, and that he's the one that killed him because he was told this by people. And I'm like, well, technically he did pull the trigger. But technically, it is the job of the armorer and the props department to make sure that little fragment of a slug was not in there when the gun goes off. Because when that happened, when the blank went off, the charge from the blank, which is the same charge you had from firing a gun, shot that out, and that's what propelled into Brandon Lee and killed him. And It's very sad, and it's very sad that Michael felt that way to the point where I met him once at a convention. I knew he felt this way, so I gave Michael the biggest hug before I left him, because you know what? Some folks need that big hug, and the reason why I make it a point to watch The Crow every year, and there's a lot of folks do it anyway, but my cousin who we lost to suicide when I was probably like 16, 17 years old, it was a film that was close to him. Soundtrack was close to him. The music, all that stuff was close to him, and it's something that we shared, and it's quite poignant in the fact that a lot of the themes in the film touch me in a way to where I'll be weeping at parts. So this is a film that we'll probably never cover on the podcast because I don't want to cry on the air like I have before. And it'd be a mess. It'd be like when Darla died and we had to do Best in Show, and as you heard the whimper at the end of that episode, but I had to like shut it down, and I had a feeling that we ever do The Crow, I'd have to shut that down too, like that several times during the review. So I'll probably never do another show, but I'll tell you what I did do, and I'm going to give you an honest review of The Crow Redux, if you will. I watched this again for a second time for this conversation, and it's not as terrible as people say it, or the ones that have seen it, the ones that may have not seen it, that still want to talk shit about it. Now what do you yell at right now? The filmmakers, the writers, all that stuff, because they should have picked a different character in the new Crow. They should have been Eric Draven, because this is the thing that upsets people the most, that they feel like they're trying to replace Brandon Lee, and that's incorrect. That's incorrect. It's its own movie, and I feel that they changed the characters because they've done that with every other sequel. That they should have done that. But this is directed by Rupert Sanders, who didn't do a whole lot. He directs some pretty interesting stuff, actually. Most of the stuff is stuff that's been done by other people. Snow White and the Huntsman, Ghost in the Shell. That's about the size of what he directed. So stuff that's been rehashed by other people. This is the guy apparently for you. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I did enjoy Snow White and the Huntsman. Ghost in the Shell, not so much. But give Snow White and the Huntsman a chance. Writers in this film, including the writer of the comic, James O'Barr's written listed here. But Zach Balin has written some pretty interesting things. I will give you some of those credits now. Creed 3 recently, mostly recent writing. Gran Turismo sticks out. I'll tell you why. It's not just a film about a race car driver. It goes way beyond that. If you haven't seen Gran Turismo, the freaking comic book, the freaking video game movie Gran Turismo with David Harbour and this young man, go check out Gran Turismo. I think it's incredibly fun and incredibly a cool concept, much thanks to the screenplay writer, of course. That's where I'll leave you your credits here. This stars Bill Skarsgård as Eric Draven, FKA Twigs, who apparently is some kind of British singer of some sorts, and inexperienced, and it shows in this film, which is nothing that hurts this film. Danny Houston as our villain, Vincent Roig, and a bunch of other folks. That should sell you alone in the film right there, is that Bill Skarsgård, who I don't like everything he's ever done, but I recognize the skills, in there with Danny Houston. Those two things should be make you want to watch this film. One big storm out is David Bowles, who plays Wickham, which is, if you know the comic, there's a guy who digs up Eric. It's a skull cowboy. If you've seen the deleted scenes, he's played by Michael Pare in the original film. And he trains the Crow, a la like Daredevil, to use his skills in this film. And very good part, very well written. But I'll give you a real short and skinny on this, though. Not your daddy's Crow film. I think they waste a lot of time on the courtship. It's like it takes like 35 minutes to get anywhere in this movie, which is a big problem for me and a big problem for most people, I'm sure. But once it gets there, you get some cool effects. Like there's a point where he breaks his leg somehow. I forget how he does it, but you see like the joints going back together again after he pushes it in. So it's a great mix of practical and CG gore effects in this movie. There's an insane scene in an opera where he's just murdering everybody. And it's a great 20-minute sequence of a film. Big problems for me is FKA Twigs is Shelley. She's not very good. She's not very good actress. Danny Houston is kind of wasted in this movie, although he plays a very sinister part. A guy who could basically uses clairvoyant people to like steal their souls and like make us look more powerful, especially like this omnipresent being. But then again, they don't explain that much too much either. So the biggest flaw in films is they don't explain a whole lot, and usually the guy, you don't explain everything to me, blah 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 blah. But this film is, I feel, is a little more necessary for the narrative to explain a few more things about our villain. And biggest hole in this film is that. But I'll leave my review of The Crow to watch it for yourself and to see if you like it or not. Because right now I'm at about a 6.5 out of 10. And it might get better with subsequent viewings, but 6.5 out of 10 is pretty fair rating for The Crow. Not awful. Worth your time for a one-time watch. If you like it, watch it again. It's that's about it, man. But I'm going to get into two things in this show. We got two reviews coming up. One of which is an archival review that's never been released. Recorded a long time ago with myself and Jeffrey X. Martin, where we covered Graydon Clark's guy with a pumpkin on his head, killing folks with a lawnmower spoof movie, Wacko. It is fucking delightful. I can't wait to talk about this with it. Listen to you guys. Well, you already did. If you're going to listen to it. And then, you know it, a preview of sorts, folks, of a special series of shows I'm going to do it with John Cross, which he's entitled In the Pare Way, like we've been like all impregnated by his glowing glare of Michael Pare, where we cover Bad Moon for this Halloween episode and a whole gamut of werewolf stuff, all crammed in that whole hour and a half segment. I couldn't cut anything out, people. I just want you guys to know that now and just have a listen to both these things. But right next in your ears, you are going to hear a review of Wacko, myself and Jeffrey X. Martin. You will hear that right after the trailer.
Ladies and gentlemen, an important announcement from Academy Award-winning actor Mr. George Kennedy.
One very serious point. Lawnmowers do not kill people. People kill people.
Wacko, wacko, wacko. At last, a motion picture made by, for, and about people just like you and me.
Damien, how many times have I told you this is not a toy?
Oh, there was a phone message for you.
Oh, wow. From Norman?
Oh, wow. He didn't say.
Oh, come on, Mom. What did he say?
Well, at first he goes, your daughter's gonna die tonight. Then he says,
Oh, wow. Far out.
Police business? I'd like to have a few words with you.
I'll never forget the first time I saw your father. If I'm rambling on too much, just let me know.
Not at all.
Wacko, wacko, wacko. At last, a motion picture made by, for, and about people just like you and me.
All right, welcome back to the beef Halloween special, if you will. For serving it up, dishing it up, with some pumpkin seeds, y'all. It tastes so good. I am joined by a good friend of mine, Mr. Jeffrey X. Martin. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing extremely well. How y'all doing today? Hello, beefers.
Hello, beavers.
Beefers. I love that.
Doing fine, man. Doing fine.
Awesome.
This is a segment where I ask X to do something with me, and it's always fun, people. We're going to talk about the film Wacko from 1982. This is a Graydon Clark joint, who you may know brought you Satan's Cheerleaders, and joysticks and black shampoo and without warning. Good shit, man. I love it. I love his output. And this is much like the title suggests. It's Wacko, man. And this is a horror comedy in the vein of like when I say vein, I mean one person's vein in this movie that lifts the dinner table. We'll talk about that soon. And of like student bodies, or like a film like National Lampoon's Class Reunion, if you will. This is all fun. Your basic plot synopsis is: 13 years after the lawnmower killer killed her sister, high school student Mary Graves and obsessed detective Dick Harbinger are on the lookout for the killer to reappear during the annual Halloween pumpkin prom. This has a long list of people in it, young people, and older people, of course. The great Joe Don Baker as Dick Harbinger, Stella Stevens as Mrs. Dr. Graves, George Kennedy as Mr. Dr. Graves. These are the names, people. Julia Duffy as Mary Graves, Scott McGinnis as Norman Bates with mother and all. I love that stupid fucking scene. Elizabeth Daly, that's E.G. Daly to you, as Bambi. Michelle Tobin as Rosie. The Dice Man, Andrew Dice Clay if you're nasty, as Tony Shalongini. We got some great character actors in it too. Anthony James as Zeke. The always wonderful, not Reggie Bannister, but still there for the paycheck, Sonny Carl Davis. And Charles Day Pierce for a hot second as Chief O'Hara. Oh man, so much fun. X, first time watch for you, man. I'm curious for your thoughts on this one. Give us your general thoughts on it, brother.
All right. Well, don't forget Jeff Altman's in the cast too, and if that's not a flashback to the '80s, I don't know what the hell is. I think that okay. Airplane came out in 1980, and after that, there was just a glut of movies that took that same sort of, that broad approach. A lot of puns, a lot of slapstick comedy, a lot of sexual innuendo. And this was also the time of teenage sex comedies. If all you watched were those kinds of movies, you would think that the main goal of Western civilization in the 80s was just to lose your virginity. Maybe it was. I mean, I was there. I know I wanted to. And thankfully, I finally did. I was 50. And then you had the golden age of slasher movies going on at the same time. So Friday the 13th came out the same year as Airplane. So they all inspired a bunch of imitators, much like Wacko. And you mentioned Student Bodies and National Lampoon's Class Reunion. Also Pandemonium comes to mind, the Hudson Brothers movie. But I don't think any of those movies really took as big of a swing as Wacko did. This one just really, it goes for it, man. It doesn't always work. And some of the gags fall so flat you can almost hear them thud. But this is one of those quantity over quality movies. So I had a good time with it. I don't think it's aged well. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, I think I had a good time with it.
Cool, yeah, this isn't a first time watch for me. I watched this, and I forget how it came into my radar. It's just, probably along the lines of, what other horror comedies are there after I watch Student Bodies, and this one pops up and comes to mind. You have to excuse me, my alarm's going off in the other room, and I can't get up and go turn it off, so you're going to get to hear that while I talk about Wacko.
It just sounds like you're stirring drinks.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is very fun though, but like I said, it's 82. I just say it's 82, so it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, some of the jokes of the age, well, a lot of them are there for slapsticky reasons, and like here's a gag. Either you love this dad joke or you don't love this dad joke. It's just there, and it's just I love the way this is all set up. Like really loose shit to say, here's this killer. It's 13 years later. 31 is 13 backwards, so it's gonna happen on Halloween apparently. And It's so absurd. I love the very opening of this film, to where they're just aping on those opening scenes in these slasher movies, to where it's something like Halloween, to where they're carving this jack-o'-lantern, but then he puts it on his head with this, I don't even know what the nose is. It's some kind of phallic thing swinging from his nose. It just, and then of course, the gag, if you will, the real gag is him choking, because I guess he didn't do the thing all the way, and the pumpkin crap all coming out. The most liquidy pumpkin crap I've ever seen in my life. It's just, pumpkin goo don't come out like that, but it made me laugh, let's put it that way.
Well, and the first line of the film, which the pumpkin killer says, is "Death to all teenagers who fuck." You pretty much know what you're getting into after that line.
Oh yeah, for sure, because it begins with that. We're with sister putting in her falsies, and George Kennedy, who's just mowing the lawn, as he said, as he's peeping on his daughter, you know. And that's what you always say, Daddy. And I guess that I listened to this with the commentary on. I watched it with the commentary on after I watched without the commentary. And he said that he had already worked with Jack Palance, you know, without warning, obviously, and he couldn't get him for this because he didn't think that kind of pedophilia was funny. So he wasn't going to work with him on this one.
So by proxy, that means that George Kennedy did think that pedophilia was funny.
Well, yeah. And it's hard to explain, you know, talking to the people right now about Wacko to why this brand of humor is funny. When in the next scene they're at the breakfast table, and little brother who's a loon for no reason is stabbing himself in the leg with father's missing scalpel, and mom thinks it's a good idea to send him with a cleaver instead of his prized scalpel, and he's okay with this. Yeah. Now, what's missing is the scene in surgery where he's, you know, hacking at the body with this cleaver whilst eating a sandwich off the corpse. You know, it's just this is what's missing. Yeah.
Yeah, no young doctors in love for us. And you know, the thing about that, which again I kind of want to get to later, but you were talking about how. You know, the running jokes are a little bit dated, but Wacko's script is so full of references that if you're a nerd, you know, like I am and like you are, then you're going to hear something. Like at one point, Mary, Julia Duffy's character, is looking for her boyfriend, whose name is Norman Bates, which is, can't trademark it, that's fine. But she hears a noise and she actually says, "Norman, is that you?" And that's the name of a movie from 1976 starring Red Fox. So it doesn't have anything to do with horror movies, not a thing, but it just kind of rang that little bell in my head. It was probably unintentional, but, you know, I heard it and I was like, oh, okay. So the movie kind of gets your brain into a weird mode. You start looking for references and you might see them where they aren't supposed to be. It's just, it's sort of looking for. It's dense. That's a good word for it. It's very dense.
Yeah, I agree, because I listening to the commentary, he tried to push a lot of little things in there, you know, because he's a film lover and you know, at heart, and just push those little references in there of stuff that he could use and possibly get away with, and that gag there, it's wild, and the whole idea, again, you just laid it out there. Yeah, I'm here to kill teenagers who fuck. Like, yeah, that's the whole plot of any slasher movie. If you have sex, you're gonna die. And
yep.
This one dies absurdly with the kids in the back seat, which I love the fact this has that opening where you couldn't find a sitter that's reliable. So you know what? I'm gonna go have sex, and I guess play with bondage, I guess, with these children by gagging them and tying them up, in case they want to join in or something.
Yeah, I kept them quiet so they wouldn't be bothered while they were having sex. So it's so weird. All right, look, let's just jump to it. Dude, can we talk about the cornbread scene?
Which cornbread scene you talk about?
The scene with Joe Don Baker, where he's with the black family and they're telling him what to do, but he is just serving them a giant slab of cornbread.
It's a Twinkie, okay? Because there's a thing where it is, because there's parts of the movie where he is constantly has them in his kitchen. So for some reason they have this giant Twinkie on the table. And he's serving this black family, which is his family, because he says so in the commentary that it's a direct riff off of The Jerk. Is that to where they don't explain anything, he just has this black family, and it's not like Steve Martin the whole deal of you're trying to say I'm going to stay this way forever, that deal. If you've seen The Jerk, you've seen The Jerk. He was born a poor black child, people, okay?
Well, that completely went over my head.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, fix that in post, because I feel like an idiot now.
No, you're okay. It would have been more racist if cornbread was introduced, though, and possibly...
It just looked like cornbread, dude. I was just like, I didn't see the Twinkies in his kitchen. I saw the him pouring coffee into a satchel.
Oh, it's great. It's so great. It's great that he has a coffee cup as like on a loop of his pants, at the ready.
Hanging.
Yeah.
Just hanging, and then he can pour coffee out of his satchel like one of them big church basement coffee makers. It's great. Oh my god.
Biggest coffee. What were those things called? They still have them, of course, but the giant carafe of coffee. I forget what that thing's called.
What, the Bonomatic?
Yeah, the biggest one I've ever seen ever was in this movie. It's like he needs that much coffee, to be up all the time and, be Joe Don Baker detective.
So, do you think you could make this sort of movie today? Like, could you make Wacko today?
Oh, hell no, man. Hell no.
Not at all. Thank you.
You can get away with some of the jokes, like, one of the big highlights of the film, and this is before he was even remotely famous, is Andrew Dice Clay as Tony Shalongini just doing Barbarino, but really horny, even hornier than Barbarino.
Yeah, very Danny Zuko.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, it's kind of wonderful, and I guess like he was having fun like the whole time doing this, and fucking with Greg and Clark saying, because there's a scene where they're gonna go to the pumpkin prom, and he's dressed as Superman. And I forget where Rosie's dressed as his lady, but he's at the dinner table, and she's, I forget what she's doing, but he gets an erection that knocks over the dinner table.
Yep.
I guess he told Greg and Clark that he could have did that without the effect. So that's just classic. That's just classic Dice right there. Saying he's gonna do that, and the way he's introduced is a musical number of him dancing down the stairs, singing this song about himself, only to have an awkward erection at the end of that song, and it's so funny. It's so funny to me.
Oh, I'll say this too: Wacko's the only movie I've ever seen that actually pulled off a decent Dr. Moreau joke.
Yeah, complete with fucking beast people on the football team, which was probably the most expensive effect of the film, was these...
Probably so.
These creatures actually look pretty decent. I don't know who worked on these. I have to look into that while the next time you go into something you talk about, I will look into that to see who did the monster effects for Wacko. I'm sure it's something great, though.
There's one point in the movie where Mary and her cheerleader friends kind of get together and give this weird little speech in the hallway. And she uses, and this is a serious question, she uses the phrase pouting breasts. What does that mean? That's not the word. Is that the right adjective? I mean, that's not a word I would use for breasts.
Well, Yeah, pouting breasts. Damn, that's a rough one, man.
I mean, that's like saying, whining.
Does that mean does it mean like perky breasts or something? I don't even know what that means,
I've never seen anybody perky who was pouting at the same time. So I literally do not understand that phrase. And it was in this movie, so I just thought I'd bring it up.
It's like when I watched Dobie Gillis for the first time, he described girls as milky. What does it even fucking mean there, Dobie? I don't even know what the hell that means.
You can throw cereal at them?
Is it like, are they lactating in high school? But that's a problem, I think.
Oh, man. But there are other good lines in this movie, too, which are just memorable and quotable. God, it was the psychoanalyst who told Charles Napier, who, Murdoch from the Rambo movies, he was just like, nice haircut. You repressed? And I laughed so hard. Oh my gosh. It's very, very funny. Again, probably not. The movie was made way before the advent of political correctness. So some scenes really don't add anything to the movie. But if you can get past that, it's really funny, because I'm a sucker for bad puns and dad jokes and anything like that. And Wacko's just full of that stuff. It's got references from Carrie to the Birds to Alien, the older Hitchcock stuff. It's like watching someone like overfill a suitcase and then try to sit on it to make it close.
Yeah, it was a lot of throwing stuff against the wall to see what would stick, and some stuff stuck pretty great, like the whole. Yeah, how would you get that massive lawnmower over that convertible to take the sister's head off? I don't know. You just kind of went with it,
But it runs from really clever references like that to just Borscht Belt humor. Like at one point, they talk about this wonderful door prize, and it's actually a door that they're giving away as a prize.
See, those are jokes I enjoy, okay? This
I do too.
Now, children, this is why Gremlins 2 is better than Gremlins 1. Because there's a point in Gremlins 2 where Christopher Lee says, I had a couple of cases of flu come in last week. And there's a guy that walks by with cases that say had the word flu on them. These are things that make me laugh,
Oh, makes me laugh too. Kind of a weird little thing, but as some of you may know, if you've ever heard me talk about it before, Satan's Cheerleaders, which is a Graydon Clark movie, is one of my wife's favorite movies. And one of the reasons that we like it is because of the music that's in it. Satan's Cheerleaders has like 2 songs in it, and they play them over and over again, and they're by a band called Sonoma. Well, in Wacko, there's a band called Avalon, and they're playing the music for the prom, and it's very Carrie-esque. It's very, like, here's the live band at the prom, and we don't know how the heck you were able to afford that. But that music is really, really good. They've got some weird song called, was it Messing With My Baby?
It's a real highlight of the movie, the Avalon,
really, really
the Avalon songs. Mm-hmm.
Also, you can see Clark's wife at the time, Jacqueline Cole. She was in pretty much everything Clark ever did, I think, right? Anyway, she was the cheerleading coach in Satan's Cheerleaders, and she shows up in Wacko as the librarian. So that's kind of a game that she and I play, is let's look for Jacqueline Cole. Let's see if we can find her in this movie. Oh gosh, she passed away in 2003, and we shared a birthday. She was born the same day I was, so she's like one of my favorite. I don't know what's lower than C grade, D grade. I don't know.
Z grade, I guess.
Z grade actresses.
People call it that, yeah.
Yeah, I like her a lot. It was fun to see her in it, even if it was only for 5 minutes.
Yeah. I love, for a slasher movie, one thing it has against it is there's not a whole lot of kills in it. It's just, they just kind of, they get the word at the beginning, and then you get, the Dice Man, his lady, they go in a hilarious scene because he's going to go get busy in the kitchen apparently, or whatever's going on in here. And before the killer puts the Dice Man's face in the garbage disposal, he gets scolded for not running the water first, which I think is hilarious.
By his mother.
It's so stupid, but it works so well.
Thanks, Ma. Oh, man. I'm sorry. This movie just cracks me up. Yeah, like he said, it was first time watch for me, and I was just... my jaw was either on the floor or I was literally laughing out loud. I had such a great time with this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny gags in it that work. The whole idea of, Mary's sister being killed by the lawnmower killer, but having a boyfriend, Norman Bates, who gets all riled up. When he gets all riled up, he makes lawnmower noises, and gets so horny he has to pour buckets of ice down his pants. That's so. Playing on her post-traumatic stress from being in the backseat, bondaged up with whoever else she was babysitting that night, the brother and who the fuck else knows who else, the fact that this guy gets horny over lawnmower noises, or makes lawnmower noises when he gets horny, it's just like, yeah, she's with this guy, and that's fine, and the whole thing at the dinner table with them, again, this has like two really great three. I say 3 or 4 good dinner table scenes. This one, he brings Mother to dinner. Literally, the corpse of Mother comes to dinner, using her as a ventriloquist dummy, and... Oh my
God.
The mouth doesn't move or anything, but, he's really trying, and does the whole thing with the water and everything, and, I'm here for it, let's put it that way. It's funny to me.
Yeah, man. It's great. And it's one of those, if you know, you know, and if, I don't know, pretty much everybody knows, I guess, that that's a Psycho joke, but I just think it's absurd. It's absurd and wonderful.
Oh, I gotta give it to the special effects team again. They got... It made it look like Mother from Psycho, that end scene in Psycho.
Yeah,
and
with the teeth.
Yeah, but just as a dummy, and, make us all laugh and stuff, and you gotta appreciate, one thing in the beginning of the film, you gotta appreciate a good, putting falsies in scene, because I always love shit like that, when they're just stuffing it down, yeah. You can harken back to Animal House, you can harken back to many things with that. One of my favorite falsy scenes ever is still Hairspray, where Mink Stole has a big ass sign pointing at it saying, "Hey, yeah, they're fake. Take them out." But
I'm trying to get this cat off my lap.
I gotcha. What's up? What's up, CD?
That's not CD. It's Twitch.
Oh, it's Twitch. Okay. Appropriately named,
Well, she's got the separation anxiety, so it's like every 15 minutes she has to jump up here and make sure that she's still, a member of the household.
There you go.
She makes murder muffins on my arms. Looks like ground beef over here.
There you go.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, certain things. Sonny Carl Davis, I mentioned... He is one of my favorite character actors in movies like this. He shows up in a bunch of Full Moon stuff and Empire stuff, and he's in this. If you look him up and you see his face, you'll probably know just who he is. He shows up and he works in movies like this, and it's just he's fun as the maybe not so reformed killer. He's still crazy, but he's out. He's trying to tell folks that he might be dangerous, and it's but he's not though.
He's got a great hat.
He does have a great hat. He does. The whole did he call himself Dr. Moreau? The whole idea. Is that the science teacher? I think so.
Oh, he called himself Dr. Moreau. Gosh, what was that dude's name? He was not Avery Schreiber. He wanted to be Avery Schreiber real bad.
Victor Brandt is the actor's name.
Yeah. But he actually called himself Dr. Moreau, which I think is hilarious. And then Jeff Altman, who was the assistant principal and were the vice principal in charge of Vice, his name was Harry Palms. So
again, this film just goes for it. It goes for it, in every sense of, you know what, here's a joke, and it's fucking obvious. It's Dr. Moreau, who has a really crude-looking metal plate in his head that constantly whacks himself in the head, I guess, to get his head straight, and does wacky science experiments on the football team, and it's fun. And you get an early Elizabeth Daily role in this movie. I think this is either the year of Valley Girl or the year before Valley Girl. It's
before she got a middle name.
Oh, okay.
It's Elizabeth Daily instead of E.G. Yeah, but this is pre-Tommy Pickles, obviously.
Mm-hmm. It's fucking adorable in this movie, and she gets accosted by what is only called the loony in this movie, who may be the killer. I love the fact that this one was that plays with the whole red herring thing constantly. Is it the doctor? Is it this crazy guy, the loony, who flashes people? Is it the weirdo? It could be anybody at this point, but it plays on that trope very, very well. So it's anything that
looks like.
I'm sorry.
The loony looks like a combination of Uncle Fester and Erland Van Lith from Alone in the Dark. So,
man, that guy had a short career, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, me too, because he was really, really good. I don't know. I'll defend Alone in the Dark.
Oh yeah. What do you
defend that?
Listen to the gems he was in. He was in Stir Crazy, The Running Man, Alone in the Dark. I think there was one more thing Erland was in, and that's it. Then he was dead. It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
All standout roles though.
I don't think he would have I don't know. He could have done a rom-com thing. I mean, Pruitt Taylor Vince did. Become a romantic lead. But he's just very scary looking.
Is that the guy from Identity, Pruitt Taylor Vince?
Yes.
Oh, I could picture it now. See.
Yeah. Also, he was in an X-Files episode where he kept giving people, what was it, Twilight sleep? That anesthetic that they used to give. It was either Dennis gave it or they gave it to women in labor, and his eyes were just shaking the whole time. It was just super scary.
I was going to ask, does it make your skin all sparkly and such? Because that's the kind of Twilight I like. Sparkly skin Twilights. Yeah.
Nope, no super speed football here.
Though, see, those are the best parts of those movies. The baseball part, and then I actually turned on the last one on cable one time, and there's a pretty badass, killing on a snowy battlefield scene where the two families are going at it, and it's fun. That's a cat. That's my cat scratching my door right now. See, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Oh, shut up, Duchess. You Riri. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Back to the Wacko though, man. Like you said, a lot of jokes fell flat. This is the thing about this movie though. If you don't want these kind of dad jokes, if you don't want this kind of just going for it, throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks stuff, you probably wouldn't enjoy yourself watching this movie. And
oh no, not at all.
In a way, I feel sad for you.
Yeah, because you'd be like, oh, this is trite and boring, and I'm like, no, this is really, really funny stuff. Oh, like I said, I mean, it's just got so many great lines. Like when Joe Don Baker describes a person as having creamy statutory thighs. That's 3 words I never thought I would hear together. It's great.
Again, you shouldn't be laughing at this, but let me tell you, I'm laughing at that line right there.
I know. It's naughty.
creamy.
It's not even real. It's not even real. It's like a fantasy sequence or something. I mean, never. It's. You'll understand when you see it. I feel like a sinner.
In one other film, but you have Joe Don Baker, who I guess they paid him for scale for like 6 days working like a slave, just to get him paid the right amount of money.
Right.
And
that's hilarious.
In one other scene where you have him in a dress, with makeup on, getting whipped by somebody, It's just and Joe Don Baker in a clown costume for no reason, and it's great. It's great.
I mean, a contract's a contract, dude. He knew what he was getting into when he signed up for the part.
It's like he kept talking about George Kennedy and the commentary, Grayson Clark, and you should. But he kept saying, yeah, Academy Award winner George Kennedy. I was like, yeah, just keep reminding us of that. And, that's fine. I could love Cool Hand Luke and Wacko. So, yeah.
I can love Airport and Naked Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, yeah. Airport's pretty funny, too, now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Airport is hilarious, man.
Airport's delightful. Oh, my gosh. I need to watch that again real quick.
Good boy. Yeah, this brand of sex comedy I can enjoy. There are worse things you could watch, but it's as far as if you want to get offended, watch this thing, because they do talk about, like, a lot of nasty things, like the whole George Kennedy looking in on his daughters, like maybe he's mentally ill. You don't know. He's fucking nuts throughout the whole thing. But he seems to be having a good time with his wife, and that relationship is out there. But there's a lot of love there. But it
feels like this is one of those movies that they invented the word nubile for.
Mm-hmm. Man, oh man, yeah. If you want to find this, I believe Vinegar Syndrome has a special edition Blu-ray that you can buy. If it's still in print, I don't know. It might not be in print anymore, but it is available streaming on...
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Available on a streaming platform that I know very little about, but a lot of folks push, called Freevee. You can watch that on there with some ads. And any final thoughts that you'd like to say about the good old Wacko here, man?
I would recommend Wacko to certain people. Not everyone. Like, I would not have my in-laws watch it at all. But certain people, would really get a kick out of it. So be careful before you're like, oh, hey, let's watch Wacko. Because you'll either get uproarious laughter or you'll get a lot of, well, I never.
Yeah, I'll agree, but yeah, that goes for a lot of the films that you enjoy that you can't recommend to everybody.
It's true.
It's just, I forgot to mention, one person, Anthony James. I mentioned in passing. He plays Zeke, was he like the custodian or something at the school?
Yeah, he's the janitor or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the guy who was the bad guy in the film In the Heat of the Night in 1967, and shows up in Unforgiven and High Plains Drifter. He kind of plays it kind of crazy in this one, and I think I got just enough of him, to put it that way.
Yeah, I knew I recognized him from High Plains Drifter.
Sorry, but yeah, this is fine. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, it's easy to look at that guy and just imagine him, spitting wads of tobacco into a dusty street.
Yeah, but this is fine. I recommend it to that kind of fan who likes films like this, and it's just I can't even call it a pure good. It's just fun, and if you get that kind of film mind where you turn your brain off and watch something silly like this, and you mentioned Pandemonium. I got to talk about that with Mike White one time, my one and only time on the projection booth, and That's a film where they have a tribute to tooth decay in a cheerleading segment, and somebody gets shish kebab to death in that movie in the same scene. Yeah, watch Pandemonium too. It's fun.
I think in Wacko, the dumb outweighs the really dumb.
Oh yeah.
And in that way, I can appreciate and be just fine with it. Like, it's one I'll watch again.
Oh yeah. I just watched I just watched something in the trailer with the brother, which is hilarious, where he's inside the oven, and yet the mom is still cooking the food that comes out of the oven. It's very Brady Bunch, and you know.
Kid's name is Damien, by the way, and if you go upstairs in their house, he's in the attic, and there's a sign that says "Gates of Hell, Employees Only."
Oh my gosh. It's like they have a pro-life sign that says, "Congratulations, your mom chose life." You know? It's a good shit. Wacko's great. I recommend it. Let's put it that way. But up next, you'll hear some tricks and possibly some treats from the past, all up in your ears. And after that, you will hear John Cross and me wax poetic about a dog man in the woods and the hatred he has for one German Shepherd with our review of Bad Moon. Stay tuned.
Come a little closer, madam. I want to tell you about something your children will love. Monster vitamins. They're fun. They're screaming meanie. Babbly bab. Monster Mobile. Monsters taste terrific too, Mother. Your children should get vitamins by eating right, but when they don't, Mother, Monsters and Monsters Plus Iron sure help. My children love them. Right, kids?
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
A house on the edge of the woods.
Out here it's safe and peaceful.
A family alone.
Mom?
Yes, sweetheart?
Can you leave the door open a crack?
A favorite uncle who needed their help.
Things haven't been going so good for me since I got back to this.
You could come stay with us.
But when they invited him in,
Think I better keep my eye on you.
they let in something they could never imagine or ever escape.
What's wrong with you?
Bad Moon. It doesn't have to be Halloween to be this scary.
Hello, folks. Once again, welcome back to the Halloween episode. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm not going to do it because I'm not a perfectionist, if you will. But I'm here with my brother, my buddy. This is a preview, if you will, of what's to come with our very special Michael Pare project. And why not discuss werewolves or a werewolf with Pare's foray.
Oh, I like that. Pare's foray. Not only that, but there's Ken Foree, who is also a horror icon. They probably starred in a movie together. I've got to imagine they've been in a film together.
Icon of horror, icon of the banana hammock, Ken Foree. Yeah, yes, indeed. But yeah, we're going to do Bad Moon, the Eric Red written and directed film. He had a very interesting career. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But John is here. I'm damn glad to have him here. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. And I love this idea that we're going back and forth between our podcasts covering Michael Pare. We are going to be, for the foreseeable future, in the way of the Pare, and I'm enjoying that no end. I'm going to say that at least 8 times during this episode. And yeah, we are talking about Bad Moon, which I have to say, man, having just rewatched it, I don't know how you feel about it, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but it's one that needs a lot more love. I feel like I'm a fan.
Oh yeah, I agree because I mean the monster looks great. It is victim to that, and I don't even know where this comes from. Like almost Goosebumps level transformation sequence, in this film. We'll talk about that too, but yeah, but everything else is gold. I mean the setting, the way it's shot. I mean that's thanks to Eric Red there who wrote Near Dark and directed crazy stuff like Body Parts and just capture this Pacific Northwest setting, and I think it really is a nice companion piece to this film about a semi-horny werewolf man who clearly wants to maybe bang his sister. I'm not sure yet.
I don't know quite whether that's either even hinted at or just your particular reading of the film. But no,
there's a real strange part of the film that I'll talk about.
Yeah, and I watched the one, I may have the Blu-ray, I don't know, but because I watched part of this in bed last night and part of this today while I was working on my computer, I actually ended up watching the Peacock, the one that's streaming on Peacock. So I've got to assume that that's not the director's cut, because it did have the CGI transformation that I believe Eric Red deleted out of the director's cut. I think that people are too harsh on the transformation. I think for 1996, with what they were working with and considering the amount of practical effects in this movie, I don't mind it, but that's me. I have sort of a tolerance for these things. I think people get nitpicky when it comes to werewolf transformations on film, because they either think of the classic Universals where they would just sort of fade from one shot to another as Lon Chaney would be increasingly made up so that it looked like he would sort of hair was coming from his face, or which is always considered a classic makeup. It's considered an incredible early pioneer of makeup, Lon Chaney. But then obviously we are then spoiled in the early 80s with the double whammy of American Werewolf in London and The Howling, both of which go their own way with the transformation. And sometimes I'm more of a American Werewolf guy. Sometimes I'm more of a Howling guy. It's sort of a which is better, Dawn or Day of the Dead kind of thing. I kind of go back and forth between the two. I like both ultimately. And so a lot of people put stock in sort of the transformation. I think when you look at what I would call, if those are A tier, top tier, first tier, whatever you want to call it, werewolf movies, when I think of sort of the very next tier, I'm putting these things on pretty high second tier werewolf movies, things like Dog Soldiers and Bad Moon and a couple of others, Silver Bullet. I actually think less about the transformation, because that's always going to be difficult to innovate. You know what I mean? We have such good examples of it with the previous three that I mentioned. It's going to be difficult to top. However, I always think of the final like the way the werewolf looks, and is the actor and then ultimately the stuntman in the suit selling the werewolf. And so therefore, I think Bad Moon does that and then some, considering how brightly lit the werewolf is almost throughout this picture. It is a tremendous feat in practical effects, I think.
Oh, I agree, because you get that 45 seconds of transformation, which I liked it better, because I just watched Wolf like right after I watched this movie.
Right. That's another great one, yeah.
And the werewolves in that movie, Rick Baker was like, less is more.
Yeah.
He gave Spader and which you gotta love the film where your sleazy Spader love.
Yeah.
Where Nicholson pisses out his leg to mark out his territory.
Right.
But
I love that when they bring in the sort of when this movie does it as well, when they sort of try and do a little bit of dog/wolf humor or tendency within the movie. Sometimes it's just about the tortured man, but sometimes, as I think this movie shows and a little bit of Wolf also explores, is the idea of that, well, yeah, the man's tortured because he doesn't want to be transforming every time the night falls. However, there are those bits where the man and wolf combine, and there's that little cheeky, like, well, I'm leader of the pack. I'm cock of the walk. I'm gonna pee on the Spader's feet, or I'm gonna pee on, the dog bed as he does in this, or the outdoor doghouse as he does in this movie.
Yeah, because I love the wolf makeup because it's like ridges on the face and like the ears are different and the fangs, obviously.
Yeah.
Rick Baker was like, you know what, less is more. Let's make my werewolf more human-like but feral, which is kind of what you got, before he became the bad CG and then became the glorious creature. And I'm not discounting this at all. Like you said, John, it's a wonderful work of mechanics and guy in a suit, to push together. This werewolf looks amazing. And his claws look amazing. It's face and all this stuff. I'd say this is top tier, wolf. That's not mentioned nearly as much as it should be. But it is really a marvel of special effects. And I think why it's not mentioned so much is I looked on the IMDb, and I don't recognize the name on the list. But I'm sure if I clicked on each and every name, I'll see about 12 things that I know they have done.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what's really interesting about this movie, and it's funny you sort of say about less is more. What's really interesting about this movie is that I feel like everything else in the movie, it's less is more. So it's a small cast. It's a, one or two locations. It's a very pared down, simple. I mean, it's only 80 minutes long. 79 minutes long. And so it's one of those things where I feel like everything else is less is more, but then the werewolf, it's like more is more. I also think that with Wolf, the Nicholson Spader Pfeiffer movie, I think also what you have to wrestle with is sort of studios looking at that movie and going, well, you can't cover up Jack Nicholson. Like, you can't cover up Spader. Like, we need to see them. You know what I mean? And so, I think that's also probably what pushed Baker to do more of just, well, we'll put a few little prosthetics on Jack and Spades a little bit and sort of have him running through the woods feral, like you said, rather than going full bore on it, because at the end of the day, Jack is the star power, Spader is the young buck star power, and we want to see them doing their stuff, right? So, whereas in this movie, the other thing that I think I've heard now, there's sort of been some people who have been doing some sort of retroactive reviewing of werewolf movies, where I've heard that people have said about American Werewolf in London, which for the longest time was sort of a special effects touchstone for a lot of these things, especially when it came to practical effects, that they don't like that it's a four-legged werewolf, that they think that once it's sort of running around Piccadilly Circus or whatever, that it looks stupid. I disagree. I think it's awesome. However, a lot of people are now saying that they prefer the bipedal upright werewolf, which, as I said, Bad Moon gives you with both barrels, quite literally. And the same can be said for more recent hits like Dog Soldiers that also give you sort of a bipedal, long, kind of gangly werewolf.
People want to bitch about the transformation effects in this movie. You got to remember, a year later, we got another American Werewolf movie, American Werewolf in Paris, which, you know what, I don't think the movie sucks, but it suffers from just a lot of CG werewolves.
Right, exactly.
It looks terrible. And this film does not do that. I'm sure it had a much lower budget.
Yeah, this movie, I believe, if I'm right in quoting the trivia, I think it had about a $6 or $8 million. I think it's $6 million. That's it. Yeah, the film was budgeted at $6 million. And, Eric Red was like, I'm happy with that. I'm making you've got to think about it. This is the guy who wrote The Hitcher. And what do we know about The Hitcher? Like The Hitcher is not about the dialogue. It's about set up the situation and play that situation for as long as you can draw it out, right? And I think he does the same here with the werewolf movie. He's like, well, here's the situation. And this is based on a novel called Thor. We'll get into it, but basically it's sort of, people have dubbed it like Lassie versus the werewolf. It's a little more than that, but it's based on a novel that is written from the point of view of a dog, dealing with this scenario within its family and trying to protect the pack and so on. I've read people reviews and things that say that this movie just throws that out. I disagree. It might not be from the point of view of the dog, but I think the dog's emotions towards and the dog's protectivity, protection of the family and everything. I think that is fully explored in this movie. It might not be from the point of view of the dog, which would be very difficult to do filmically, but I think the dog is, the major crux of this movie, far more, in fact, than I think Mariel Hemingway and Michael Pare's brother-sister relationship is. I think the dog is the through line. But as I said, Eric the Red, he's a guy who's like, all right, it's Lassie versus the werewolf. I've got Michael Pare. Like, I'm just going to set this up and knock it down. I'm not going to needlessly extend it. I'm not going to put a bunch of scenes in the movie that don't need to be there. He doesn't even go as far as to like have sequences where, apart from the one at the beginning where you see the guy with the hard hat doing some work in the woods or whatever. Outside of that, you only hear about the other killings. He doesn't fill the movie with some unnecessary kind of stalk and slash sequences. He just gets right down to the point. It's about the relationship. It's about the family. It's about the dog. Let's get to that. And let's get out quick. Let's not labor the point. 80 minutes, nice and tight. Start with a bang, end with a bang, away we go. And I've got to appreciate him for that, because I think so many more horror movies, especially now in the land of 3-hour bloated, elevated horror snore fests, could so do with an hour taken out of them. You know what I mean?
It depends what it is, because there's stuff by like Ari Aster that I admire greatly. And I don't think anything's really wasted except for like maybe a couple quirky things here and there. But yeah, some of them need to drop down. I haven't seen Terrifier 3 yet, but I'm talking to you probably. Slasher movie that's 2 hours and 5 minutes. But
I haven't seen any of the Terrifier films. Weirdly enough, I've seen All Hallows Eve, which was the first appearance of Art the Clown, but I have not seen the Terrifier films. I just got them from our buddy Chris, so I will be watching them. People, I'm not a gore for gore's sake. Like, one of the things that I get frustrated about when I hear Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi talk about the Evil Dead fandom, and also when I just see the Evil Dead fans talk about stuff, they're all like, yeah, man, I fucking love all the fucking gore, man. And I'm like, no. The reason why the first 3 Evil Dead films are amazing, very little is to do with the gore. Sure, the gore is ever present, but it's to do with the camera angles, it's to do with the performances, it's to do with the one-liners, it's to do with the practical effects and a lot of stuff. This idea that like gore is somehow some substitution for tension, story, characters, it's nonsense. You watch something famously like Psycho or even Texas Chainsaw Massacre has very little gore in it. One of the scariest movies made. So I think that my approach to Terrifier was to kind of leave it alone, because I'm like, I don't know, I've just heard that it's sick for the sake of being sick and it tries to outdo itself and all this other stuff. I am going to watch them. I will try and judge them cleanly, but ultimately it's not my kind of thing. I like something, taking it back to Bad Moon, I like something like Bad Moon where, sure, I'm excited by the fact that they do the gore super well, and I'm excited by the practical effects and, whatever, but without the performances, without the characters, without the plot, without the twist of sort of the dog being the fulcrum of the movie, sort of a dog versus werewolf movie, which is a really interesting take on the subject matter. Without any of those things, the gore doesn't make me want to watch this movie.
One of my favorite things about this film is Pare himself, because in his relationship with the dog, because from jump, he knows that something's going on with Uncle Ted, and he's basically showing up to say, who's the alpha here, bitch, and I'm gonna protect my family. And by the way, they tried that point of view from the dog thing in a movie. It's The Hills Have Eyes 2, and you guys all think it sucks. Okay, so just throwing that out there.
Right.
So if you're gonna think about that mood, not having not going by the novel of the dog's perspective,
right?
You guys make fun of that film constantly. I'm just gonna throw it out there, okay?
Yeah, I mean I don't, but I mean yes, people do. Yeah. The grand internet poobah does. Yeah.
Even the dog has a flashback. Check it out.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
people get mad about that. Yeah.
Yeah, their relationship though is basically like who's the alpha here, to the point of where there's a point in the film where he wants to get rid of Thor, because Thor is going to cause him some trouble. So he shines him out. He wings him like, "We'll come get it, Thor," and Thor reacts like any trained dog would that try to protect his family, obviously,
right?
And goes for the arm right away. He doesn't go for the jugular. He goes to injure.
Yeah.
Because he knows this guy's bad news.
And apparently Eric the Red has nothing bad to say about Michael Pare at all. He is not a fan of Muriel Hemingway one bit. And in fact got very frustrated with her because he was like, she was fine when she was just playing like the mother or the sister, but when she needed to like run around and scream and actually sort of do the Scream Queen action mother bit at the end, sort of a cross between Jamie Lee Curtis and Sigourney Weaver, she did not have the chops apparently, or certainly couldn't find the chops within her. And he had to wind her up. Apparently, he spent a long time sort of treating her badly and getting her wound up in order to get the performance out of Muriel Hemingway that he does at the end of the movie. She's fine. I mean, she's sort of an actress that I get why she's out there, but at the same time, like I'm no huge fan of her, but she's absolutely fine for what it is. But
she shined. Yeah. She shined early, in my opinion.
She did.
She didn't fizzle out, but she definitely did her best stuff early. Star 80 with the aforementioned Eric Roberts.
Yeah.
Personal Best is a great film which she's in. Again, she did this stuff early on that made her a star and a commodity. And she gets stuff doing stuff like Bad Moon, which is an improvement over the last thing I would have seen her in would have been Superman 4, which it's funny as shit to me, but. Yeah, she's in that movie, but this is a much better film than that, obviously.
Well, you want to know something funny, Gary? I'm recording a podcast later tonight with our friend Matt Pare for his show, The Direct-to-Video Connoisseur, and he started, although he normally does sort of direct-to-video action, he has waded into the murky depths of 90s erotic thrillers, and so we are going to be talking about a couple of Harry Hamlin 90s joints. However, one of those Harry Hamlin joints was a movie called Deceptions. Don't look it up. It's really bad, which is him and Robert Davi and Nicolette Sheridan. But Deceptions has a sequel in all but title. There's no follow-on characters. There's no follow-on plot. It's just another generic 90s erotic thriller. And in Deceptions 2, The Edge of Deception, which is literally the name of the movie, stupidest name, The Edge of Deception. Guys, not full deception. It's just The Edge of Deception. But it's Deceptions 2. Muriel Hemingway is in that movie. So I will put Bad Moon way above Deceptions 2. The Edge of Deception.
Unless you're like a Shannon Tweed who would like star in your own sequels. That was such a popular thing to do, like the Poison Ivy series, sleazy as hell.
Yeah,
the first one had Drew Barrymore, I believe, and the second one had Alyssa Milano. So it was a brand new Poison Ivy in this one, people. So,
and then by the third one, isn't it Jamie? What's her name from My Name Is Earl? Presley. Right. No, I mean that's the thing is in the world of erotic thrillers, which is the only way you're allowed to pronounce that, by the way. In the world of that, you either have your Shannon Tweeds who are like, no, I'm owning this. I am fucking every single film is going to be Shannon Tweed above the title, erotic thriller. Like that's going to be happening. Or, as I said, in the case of Deceptions and Deceptions 2, they eschew Harry Hamlin for some Canadian heartthrob whose name I don't even remember. And then they just crowbar in Muriel Hemingway.
It's like the time I watched Stepfather 3, which it's a hilarious movie, but I wouldn't call it like a serious horror film. My mom, who's the most massive Waltons fan there could be, I was like, "Look, Mom, it's replacement John Boy. Look, Mom, look." You know?
Yeah, right. And then they did a stepdaughter as well, which I don't think is like an official sequel, but it's often tagged to the Stepfather trilogy as a fourth part, if you want to go there.
It is the Scanner Cop of Stepfather sequels, and I want to look for this now. So you know.
I have it on VHS. Of course I do, Gary. I have it on VHS. Stepdaughter. Of course I have it on VHS because I collect ridiculously bad VHS. It's so funny. Sorry, I know we're going off on a sidebar. I'll be quick.
Hey, people enjoy it.
Another sidebar. As a VHS collector, it's so funny because I have my little VHS store here in New Milford, Connecticut. So I'm often buying boxes of VHS for the store. So very often when movies come through like Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, the big names that people want to collect on VHS. I'm like, I have all these fucking things on DVD and Blu-ray and 4K at this point. I don't need the VHS copy. So I often sell them because I'm trying to resell them, right? So I'm like, oh, fuck, I got Halloween 3 on VHS. That's a high ticket item. I'll put that out in the store. I got Friday the 13th, whatever it is. So all the ones that most other VHS collectors are collecting, because whenever you follow VHS collectors on Instagram, they're all about like, oh, look, I've got those classic 80s horrors on VHS. Or they're all about, I've got obscure, weird, I peed on your auntie 5 or some like shot on video thing. It's either those two things, right? I, on the other hand, as a VHS collector, when I get a box of VHS that I've purchased that I'm going to put out in the shop, if there's a weird one in it, like Deceptions 2, Edge of Deception, or The Stepdaughter, those are the ones I collect, right? So they're neither obscure enough to be considered, shot on video in 1988 in Indiana somewhere and released only 300 copies. They're not that obscure, and they're not, the big ticket, big money VHS collector items like the Nightmare on Elm Street series or Friday the 13th or whatever. They're sort of squarely, what I like about them is the VHS I collect are the ones that were made like to be distributed on VHS. They're like the straight to VHS films like Deceptions 2 and the Stepdaughter. So that's my collection, Gary. All my main horror films or main action movies or whatever, I have on DVD, Blu-ray or 4K. But my VHS collection is very much like Wings Hauser movies and shit like that.
I mean, you say people are looking, but nine guys out of 10 might be just looking for the mainstream stuff. There's that 10th guy.
That's me.
That's your bread and butter, John Boy. Okay.
Oh yeah, I am the 10th guy, dude. That's what I am. Anyway, back to Michael Pare and this awesome dog versus werewolf 80-minute movie.
Oh, and by the way, where can they find all this great VHS and such? Because I'm going to let you plug right here because it's perfect. Okay.
Yes, you can follow at Be Kind Movie Vault on Instagram, and you will be able to find us on eBay because I also have an eBay shop. But and obviously you can also follow me on at After Movie Diner, where very often I do straight to VHS videos. So I do videos about the VHS that I have. So unfortunately, you have to follow both places, After Movie Diner and Be Kind Movie Vault. Be Kind Movie Vault is the store, but After Movie Diner is kind of where I talk about random, weird, happy movies, whether it's via my podcast or via my YouTube channel. Be Kind is where you can go to buy them. Does that make sense?
It makes sense totally. And
good.
Yeah, Bad Moon though, man. Yeah, the stepfather, the transformation, if you will, of not just of the wolf but of the man. And I meant like he may be in love with his sister, because there's a scene at the dinner table.
Well, the dinner table scene is just weird because none of them finish their dinner and then they immediately go, "Yeah, let's all go to bed." I'm like, no. You haven't even finished your dinner. Like, what's going on? But yes, anyway, carry on.
There's that part to where, where they're talking, this is right when the dog had to go, unfortunately, to animal control.
Oh, that's so sad. That scene is so sad.
Because little Mason Gamble, Brett, the son, he's been in some pretty exemplary things, I gotta say. I mean, including Rushmore.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the Dennis the Menace movie, he is the titular Dennis the Menace.
He is with Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau and Barry Milfish, fucking Leah Thompson in that movie. Goddamn son, and a sleazy Christopher Lloyd. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, go check it out for those reasons. But yeah, the dinner table scene, it becomes uncomfortable really fast because he goes from like Uncle Ted to like stepfather. We talked about stepfather earlier, but he's like, I forget the line, but he tells him to come by him. Or like I said now, or whatever he says. So the boy company walks over to him, and the mother sees Janet Muriel Hemingway sees something right away. Like, yeah, something's wrong here. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's right, Brett. I'm your daddy now, type shit,
Yeah, where he says to the boy, because the dog's been taken to the pound, and he just says to the boy, there will be many animals in your life. I don't even think he says there'll be many dogs in your life. I think he just goes, there'll be many animals in your life, and the way he says it. And I think this is what's really nice about Michael Pare's performance in this movie, is that you see all of the struggle that you would expect a man to be going through, or a woman who's transferring into a werewolf, or has this, as he describes in his diaries that are sort of read out in the middle of the movie to fill in some exposition, that, he is wrestling with this. He's gone to see doctors about this. He's tried everything he can to do this. And you see all of that in Pare's emotions and face. However, as the movie goes along, even though he's been wrestling with being a werewolf for, what is it, like a month or something? I don't know how long it's been. And we should talk about this as well, because it's not just the full moon that makes him turn into a werewolf. It's any moon. But as it goes on, he becomes more and more of the wolf. So as we said, there's the scene where he urinates on the doghouse out in the yard. There's the scene with the son where he's sort of dismissing the idea of that getting rid of Thor was a bad idea. As you say, he becomes more sort of vague and oblique and dismissive of his sister. You see a little bit again of the man come back when, he transforms back at the end after the big fight and is confronted by Thor again, and is sort of like, just end it. You can see sort of some of the man come in again. But I think Pare he dances along this line of, I don't want to be the wolf. Ooh, I like being the wolf. I don't want to be the wolf. He just does it so well.
I mean, I'd say about a good 12 minutes of this movie do you feel pity for Michael Pare. Because the other times he's like on. And
he's strutting it. He's strutting it as the leader of the pack and trying to assert his dominance.
He pees at the doghouse after the dogs are taken away. Like, that's right, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Now I see that. I need that scene because eventually the boy goes to rescue Thor. He gets him out of the clink, if you will.
Right.
Thor comes to come save the day in baller fashion, and you would think I would love to see that scene where Thor comes back and stops for a second, smells his doghouse. He's gonna look like motherfucker,
right? Or do you think Thor is like, I fucking killed you, dude, and like urinates back all over the doghouse again? Is like, this is my yard, bitch. Like,
yeah, the final showdown involves Thor. There's a great, if you look at the IMDb, there's a clip in there to where this dog actor, Primo, I have to look and see what else he's done. But I love when they give dog actors the credit. My favorite being Rhubarb the cat in Comedy of Terrors.
Yeah.
But this dog, the stunt work this dog did, he runs up the werewolf's back and then goes for the jugular.
Well, there's 3 dogs. They ended up using 3 dogs. Primo is the main dog that they used throughout. They then used a much older dog when they needed more kind of calm around the house shots. Mm-hmm. And that was a dog actor that was about 10 years old that they used just for sort of the lying around and the over the shoulder stuff. And then for that big attack sequence at the end, and this is insane. I can't even fucking believe that they were able to do this, allowed to do this. I have no idea. But they apparently got a Russian border dog, a dog that was like a proper fucking guard attack dog, that they put perspex around the set to hide everyone else behind, put the poor stuntman in a fucking werewolf suit in the room, and just fucking unleashed this dog at the werewolf. So yeah, that's insane.
He probably had some kind of command that's for him to attack, and everybody just cleared the room for not Primo to go strut his stuff against this man monster, and I'm sure he was very well padded to take this onslaught by this dog.
Yeah, but I have to say it's weird watching it. You and I are both dog lovers, as you know, Gary. I have two of my own and adore them both, and it's a weird movie to watch as a dog lover, because on one hand you're like, yeah, Thor, like it's like Thor is the Chuck Norris of this movie, he's the Chuck Brunson, he's the Van Damme, you name it, he's the ass kicking, I'm gonna guard my family, he's the Liam Neeson of this movie. But obviously it's done with fake dogs and prosthetics and practical effects and everything. But there is, in the werewolf dog scrap at the end, there's some sequences where you're like, don't do that to the fucking dog,
Yeah. But you can say that you're like, yeah, get that motherfucker, because he gets that motherfucker to the point in the end where you see, Pare as a man, because what is he doing? Because werewolf, he's going for a run, and that means he's going to become the aggressive beast that he becomes. But Thor fucks this dog up, man. He pushes this dog man up. He pushes him out, throws him out the fucking window. So when you see him in human form, he is cut and bit to shit.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, that's why he says, like, just fucking end it, because yes, okay, I assume his werewolf powers. It's hinted that you never see it, but it's hinted that after the dog bites his arm, that his werewolf powers are already healing the arm much quicker than it would be if he was human. But as you said, not only has he been shot 9 times with a 6-shot revolver. That was nice. Not only has he been shot multiple times, but Thor has torn that guy every which way but Sunday, which is just phenomenal. And like I say, you kind of have to watch this movie, especially if you're a dog lover. You kind of have to watch the last scene in this movie, the big fight in this movie, a bit like a John Wick movie. In other words, John Wick's going to get the shit kicked out of him. But the thing that John Wick always does is get back up. That's the thing. You can kick John Wick out of a 10-story hotel window. He's going to hit that awning, bounce off the concrete, and crawl his way down to Lawrence Fishburne to spend a couple of months getting better again. And sure enough, Thor is the John Wick of dogs. Like, Thor takes a fucking beating, but keeps on getting up, man.
Yeah, because he's upset, man. He's been in a fucking caged area, eating fucking subpar kibble away from his family.
Because that subpar kibble, man, that got his blood up, I think.
Because he didn't have all the proper chickens and oats and shit. He was very upset by this, and because when he gets out, he doesn't even need the kids' help. He's just like, I'm going for this motherfucker. I can smell it. That motherfucker peed in my house. On now, okay.
No, listen. I have to it's one of the cool things about this movie is, as I say, it's a lean 80 minutes, and it dispenses with a lot of the usual kind of slow build hokum that a lot of werewolf movies sadly get bogged down in. And you understand why. Like, obviously, I want a werewolf movie that's about a guy struggling with the fact that he's becoming a werewolf and going through all the kind of psychological changes and blah, 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 blah. But we've seen it so many times by the time we get to 1996 that, like, let's do dog versus werewolf movie. You know what I mean? Let's just fucking go there. Let's do Predator versus werewolf movies. Let's just find the mashups and get on with it. And what's funny is, especially collecting VHS, the Universal movies, the horror movies come across my desk all the time, and we all know the main ones: the Dracula, the Frankenstein, the werewolf, the Wolfman, and so on. What we don't hear about that I keep getting across my desk as well is all the mashups, because what people do, like, yes, okay, there's the universal horrors, the 8 key, Creatures of the Black Lagoon, whatever, the 8 key universal horrors. What people don't know necessarily as much as we would necessarily, or film fans would, or even old horror fans, is all of them fought each other. Like, all of them. Like, there were Frankenstein and Dracula movies. There was Wolfman and creature movies. There were all sorts. There was mummies and whatever. They all spun off each other until, there's like 8 mummy movies and like 6 Dracula movies from back then. We only ever hear about the first one. So it's funny that, Hollywood, even as far back as the 30s, was already spinning off, as many different ideas as they possibly could to extend the sort of universal horror franchise. So why not? Let's do that now. In fact, I got very excited. I know the movies weren't that great, and I know some people had some problems with them, but like, I was getting excited that Universal was trying to again do Dracula and the werewolf and the mummy and whatever. And even as bad as some of those movies, I quite enjoyed the Tom Cruise Mummy. I quite enjoyed the Benicio del Toro werewolf movie. Like, it was fine. Like, just make more of them. You'll get better at it, or you'll get cheesier at it. And either way, I'll be happy.
They get love, especially the Mummy one gets a lot of love from people.
It does, the Tom Cruise Mummy one, because I love the Mummy one.
I think it's the Cruise that turns people off. A lot of folks don't like him, and I'm not one of those people. But
so first of all, if you put Cruise in either an action movie or a stupid B movie, I'm all over that. It's when Cruise tries to be earnest and fucking act that I'm not interested in it. When Tom Cruise is just doing balls to the wall madness, I'm all about it. But second of all, Russell Crowe as Jekyll and Hyde, I'm all about that, man. Like, I want to see more fat, crazy old Russell Crowe doing mad shit. That's why I like that movie he did where he basically is like a road rage slasher movie. Yes. I forget what it's called, but I fucking thought that was brilliant. I loved him in The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and the old Shane Black doing his pulp detective thing again. Shane Black could write pulp detective films till the day he dies, and I'll be fucking happy with it. It's so much fun. Russell Crowe is the fucking moped riding exorcist. Dude, I just want all of those things. Like, give me more Russell Crowe being ridiculous.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the ridiculous. I love the ridiculous roles. And Tom Cruise, by the way, in my top 5 Tom Cruise roles of all time, I'm sure where lands is his role in Tropic Thunder, where he just plays this fucking insane pompous asshole.
Right? They were going to do a spin-off movie of just that character, and I know people are like, well, that character only works in small doses. No, it doesn't. Have Tom Cruise in a fat suit fighting ninjas, like, or whatever. Like, I'd be all over that shit. That's amazing. But no, anyway, so back to Bad Moon. Let's talk a little bit about that opening sequence. This movie, I said, it's a lean 80 minutes. It does not waste any time getting going. We have full-blown, full frontal nudity sex scene in a tent. Intercut, by the way, with like local tribes folk just trying to do their shit around a fire. Meanwhile, Pare and his bird are back in the tent being like, fuck that noise. We're gonna go have rampant sex in a tent. And in the midst, in flagrante delicto, as the Latin people would like to say, the werewolf tears open the tent, yanking her off his Pare piece and into the night, tearing her up. What an opening Eric Red gives us.
The Pare peen, if you will.
The peen, yes.
I would love to see, like, because they're just having sex amongst these tribes, like you said. Yeah. It's like a full-blown, like, encampment.
Yeah.
With tribesmen, and I imagine other workers that are working on, I guess,
archaeologists or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
They really don't say what he's doing there.
No.
And what his job is.
Yeah.
He's kind of hanging out with his girl. He's like, hey, let's go back to the tent and have sex. Not thinking about like the moaning sounds that would encounter. You'll just see it needed a tribesman to just stick his head in the tent and see what's going on, and then get his head taken off by the werewolf.
Well, what I would have loved to have seen would have been a tribesman, like they're having sex in the tent and moaning, and you can start to hear the moaning across the camp, and just have the tribesman like gesture to the drummers to like play louder drums to like cover up the sound of Pare's orgasm.
Look, it's day 47. He's having sex again, and
these two are meant to be archaeologists. They're meant to be archaeologists, and all they seem to be doing is boning in his tent.
Bulaka, you're cleaning up this time. I'm not doing that shit again. You know?
His ejaculate is going all over our sacred temple. Oh man, yeah. So we start with coitus interruptus by a werewolf, and there were there were nudie stunt people. Stunt people had to be naked and were hung up in the night sky. And I mean, right off the bat, we get not only the sex but then the gore, man. Like they do not waste any time. She is being torn asunder before his very eyes, and then of course Pare double barrels it, blows the werewolf's head off. And I love the line later on in the movie where the kid's going on about the rules of werewolves, because he's watching Werewolf of London, another 1930s spin-off, by the way, that he's watching. And he's talking about silver bullets and whatever. And I think Pare goes, I don't know, if you blow its fucking head off with a shotgun, that'll take it out, I think.
Yeah, I love that because this movie kind of throws the rules out the window of a werewolf, everything you've learned so far. It's a silver bullet can kill them, a regular bullet can kill them too. It mentions that not just it doesn't matter what kind of moon it is for the beast to come out. He kind of says it in passing, but at the same time, you got that exposition that at any time he can go for a run and say, "Hey, now I'm the dog man. Let me go on the prowl here," and you know, because he might have got that, much like Michelle Pfeiffer got the werewolf at the end of Wolf, or might be sexually transmitted by this point, but because.
Right, and that's why, I mean, that's why I like the ending, because the assumption that maybe Thor has a little bit of the, Thor, there is some blood exchanged between Thor and the werewolf. So while this idea that that Pare might be dead, the bloodline might continue with Thor.
They do mention in the film that. Oh, once you get a taste for human blood, that bloodlust and blah 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 blah. So
yeah, but then it ends with the beautiful picture of Thor all in his bandages, kind of cuddling up to the family. But I'm like, oh no, he's a ticking time bomb of werewolf madness, I think. The other thing I love, obviously when you're doing a podcast like this and you're trying to sound interesting, you read a bit of the old IMDb trivia. First of all, I have a couple of things on IMDb trivia, Gary, just quickly. Right. First of all, what is this helpful, not helpful thing? What is this thumb down, thumb up thing? It's trivia. Who gives a like 39 people found this bit of trivia helpful and 3 people found it not helpful. Well, who are the 3 people and who bothers to click that? Does everything have to be interactive? Is everyone such a child that they're like, I need the Fisher-Price set that when I bang the button, the bell rings or the thing lights up? Like, what does it mean this trivia was helpful or not helpful? And if it, like, let's just say that 1,000 people found this piece of trivia not helpful, would IMDb remove it? Like, what? Do you know what I'm saying? It's just fucking stupid, isn't it? Are we all children?
Yeah, because if you read the goof section of this, it says, where's it at? I just saw the damn stupid thing.
There's the goof section. Yeah,
there's a full moon. 2 nights later, we see another full moon. 2 nights later, yet another full moon.
That doesn't happen in the movie at all.
Somebody wrote that shit though to prove.
I think we see like 2 full moons in the whole movie, but then later on when he sat on the couch with the kid, he says something along the lines of, maybe it's not just the full moon. Maybe it's any moon. Maybe I'm wrong. I know we see a picture of the house with a full moon above it, but like full moons last 3 days. And let's assume that it was a month since he got turned into the werewolf the first time. And then like 3 days of the full moon. I mean, who cares anyway? For fuck's sake, it's a filmic trope. There's a full moon. There are werewolves. Shut up. But no, one of my favorite bits of trivia on this movie, the second thing I wanted to say about it, is there's, and we were talking about this, is it says, in the scene in which Janet makes breakfast, her son Brett is watching Werewolf of London, 1935, on the television, and and his uncle Ted argue about werewolf lore. Actually, the lore that Brett argues that everyone knows about, such as details about silver bullets and wolfsbane, comes from The Wolfman from 1941, which Kurt Schmidt, Theodomak, I don't know how to pronounce that, but Kurt Theodomak totally made up. To which I want to say, all werewolf lore is made up. Which bit of werewolf lore is not totally made up? Werewolves don't actually exist. It's all made up. Like, what does that mean, Gary? Explain it to me.
It doesn't mean anything. I think that I love that, because a lot of them say, yeah, Monster Squad, the werewolf was killed with a silver bullet.
Right.
You know, lots of things is killed with silver. You follow the full moon lore about this is where the werewolf comes. I love this one because it just says all that's fucking bullshit. Kind of like JC's Vampires when James Woods explaining about, fucking crosses don't work. They're not a bunch of fucking fruits that sit around in rented formalware, yada, 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 the whole spiel.
Yeah.
He takes like a couple seconds to give you a little bit and say, well, you know what? I'm not like other werewolves. I'm more of a werewolf elite, if you will. Yeah, or whatever he's talking.
Right. And again, I think, here's the thing. I don't really care about the lore. Very often lore was invented either in novels or movies to make sure that there could be an ending. In other words, like, if they just get their hand on some silver bullets, all of this will go away nicely. And you don't need that. By the time you get to Bad Moon, it's not about, can they make silver bullets, or can they find silver bullets, or can they pick some wolfsbane or whatever? No, it's like the dog is gonna tear the shit out of Michael Pare. That's how we're gonna end the movie, and everyone just get on with it. The only thing I would say about this movie that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's the only thing that I think they should have just got rid of, and it's the idea that Pare handcuffs himself in the woods, because there's two problems to that. First of all, he doesn't handcuff himself in the woods because even on the night when he's meant to have gone into the woods and handcuffed himself, and the little creepy guy from the beginning comes back, he runs out of the woods and kills the creepy guy. So it's like, it's not that he's not handcuffed in the woods at all. The second problem with it is how does he undo the handcuffs in the morning? You know, like, so the handcuffing thing, I think, we've seen it in TV shows like Buffy, and we've seen it in other werewolf movies, because it's meant to be, if I'm handcuffing myself up as a human being, I'm trying to take responsibility for what the wolf would do once it takes over, and therefore consider me a good guy, because at least I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do in order to protect the neighborhood. But what do we know? We know that when he had his beautiful Airstream trailer, by the way, vintage Airstream trailer, up in, where did she say it was? It was like up in the Great North, I presume in Washington State somewhere. But when he had it up there, he killed several hikers and a forest worker and some other people. Like, part of the crux of the movie is that, there was a bunch of murders 200 miles away that he clearly did. And so I'm like, well, he clearly didn't do anything with the handcuffs while he was up there. Then there's all this nonsense about, well, he's going to handcuff himself here when he moves to his sister's house and puts his Airstream right in the front yard there. But every single night when he turns into a werewolf, the werewolf comes back out into the yard or whatever. So he's not handcuffing himself at all, and hasn't been handcuffing himself, unless it's that he handcuffs himself, but when he turns into the wolf's able to get out of the handcuffs. I don't know, but it seems to me like a pointless subplot that doesn't really go anywhere, because we're meant to feel bad about Pare, but at the same time, as you've said, there are plenty of indications that Pare is being taken over by the werewolf completely. And this werewolf has killed people. Like, he is a murderer. He's not someone who's been I thought for a minute, and I hadn't seen this movie in a while. I was like, wait, is the twist at the end that there's another werewolf and actually Pare's been handcuffed this whole time and it's not really Pare doing the murders, it's someone else? But then I'm like, no, that's that's clearly not it, because otherwise that wouldn't make sense that Thor keeps growling at him and all the rest of it. So at the end of the day, that whole handcuff thing is the only thing to me that makes this movie a little frustrating, because you're like, well, he's not handcuffing himself, because if he was, he wouldn't be around to kill the creepy anorak guy who was trying to scam Muriel Hemingway out of her money at the beginning of the movie. So
I have a hilarious explanation for all this, okay?
Oh, go right ahead, Gary. Go right ahead.
Whenever they go become the wolf or go handcuff himself or whatever, he goes for a run, he says.
Right.
Now, but my thing is to get deep enough in the woods. He leaves the house at 8:30.
Yeah.
He's get deep enough in the woods by 9:45. But every time he tries to go do it, he's a couple minutes late, and he looks at his watch and says, "Oh fuck, 9:47. Here I go wolfing again."
Right.
So he just happens to miss his window.
Right.
To be good. So he just embraces the douchebaggery of all of it.
Right. Yeah, I think it's one of those movies. It's one of those things where they're trying not to make Michael Pare the villain, and the thing is that it's fine that Michael Pare is the villain. He doesn't need to be kindly Uncle Ted. He can be murderous werewolf Uncle Ted, because that's where the movie goes anyway. The movie goes there anyway. It's not like at the end of the movie, Muriel Hemingway's crying over her dead brother. She's like, that fucking guy tried to kill my dog. Fuck him. Like, she's over that shit. So we don't need Pare to be the good guy. It's quite okay that Pare's the bad guy.
I mean, this could be the greatest Halloween Mentos commercial that ever existed, though.
Right.
Time, and he just smiles at he gawks at the cameras like, oh fuck, 9:47. And then he becomes the werewolf who goes try to kill the family. Mentos, precious, whatever it is, he's funny as hell. Yeah.
I have to say, because again, a lot of people will complain about the CGI transformation. I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. And I think actually what is nice about the CGI transformation is, rather than being like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen kind of CGI, which is sort of, I always describe that as when Jekyll and Hyde changes in that movie. I always describe it as like he bubbles up. You know what I mean? A little bit like the first Hulk movie as well. Like there was that like bubbly effect they did. What's nice about this movie is it seems that they did the transformation practically, but applied it onto Pare with CGI. Meaning that when you see like his shoulder burst out and some of the fur come out, when you see like, his foot burst out of the shoe or whatever, that's all done practically, but it's kind of CGI'd onto him. So it sort of has a slightly better quality than if it was just full-blown CGI. I think where they do full-blown CGI is with his head, because obviously it's very difficult to, put too many, like in The Howling, where they put all the bladders under the guy's head and it starts to like, transform and contort and bubble and whatever. Difficult to do that without making the head, like it does look in Howling, kind of weird and boxy, because you put so much prosthetics onto the actor's face. The CGI on the face and the head, I'll agree, looks a bit wonky. But the rest of it, the transformation, I have no problem with. But the point I wanted to bring up was when he is trying to handcuff himself to the tree and the transformation starts on his face with the hair and the teeth and the eyes and everything, that makeup is fantastic. And Pare is selling it. Like, he's selling the pain of it, but also the I'm about to become a werewolf, bitch. Like, he's selling both parts of it so well.
The joy of it, that he's really into it by now.
Yes. Yeah. And so I have to say, like, full fucking marks for that bit. It's really just 3 seconds of CGI that you have to just get over. And I wish people would get over, because I see a lot of people talking about the CGI online. And even Eric Red has said, like, that people have been coming up and complaining about the CGI in this movie over and over again. If you watch an 80-minute movie and 3 seconds of CGI is the thing that you complain to the director about, fuck you, is how I feel.
He didn't like it. He took it out.
I know he took it out, but I'm just saying, like, he says that people at conventions and stuff have been coming up and complaining about the CGI forever. I'm like, who is it who goes up to a director and complains about even a minute's worth of a great 80-minute werewolf movie? Like, shut up, is what I say.
If you look at the history of werewolf films, there's maybe out of all the ones they made, I'd say if I had to guesstimate, and I'm probably wrong about this, it's probably closer to 30. I'd say about 25 good ones out of all the ones they made. Truly good ones. And I'd say this is up there as far as like being one of the good ones. And you mentioned the Universal ones; those aren't all good. See Hammer, Curse the Werewolf, starring the very mannish Oliver Reed, because you need that. They only made one. You want to know why? Because Oliver Reed was enough. They only made one.
Yeah. And then again, I'd have to say, Gary, I'd be hard pressed to name 10 werewolf movies that I care about. I like werewolf movies, but by the time I'm getting down the list, you know what I mean? We've got American Werewolf in London, Howling. Probably there's a couple of the Howling sequels that you would throw in there just to be fair or whatever. But
I love Howling too, but it's not a good movie. I do love it though,
But it did go up to Howling 9 or whatever, so maybe one of them is worth it. I've no idea. I haven't watched them all yet. I own them all. I've just got to plow my way through them. Because I like collections.
Have you done the marsupials? Because it's wonderfully strange.
Oh, yes, I have. Yes, of course I have. I'm an Ozploitation fan, so of course I immediately went to the marsupials one. But no, I mean, it's Howling, American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, Bad Moon, the Universal Wolfman and the Hammer Wolfman. Well, that's 5.
Dog Soldiers is up there, I think.
Dog Soldiers is 6. Then you start to go, well, all right, so the Benicio del Toro one wasn't bad, so let's throw that in at like number 7. But then you're getting like, maybe I'm forgetting. Maybe someone's listening to this and screaming at the podcast, being like, "Why didn't he say this werewolf movie?" But in general, what are we talking about? We're not talking about a 1,000 great werewolf movies.
I mean, I mentioned Monster Squad. That's more of an ensemble. And even that, the werewolf is not the star. I mean, Wolfman's got nards. He has moments,
right?
But he's not the star. The star is Drac and Frank.
I tell you the two I'm forgetting. The two I'm forgetting that I love: Ginger Snaps.
Yes, Ginger Snaps.
And Late Phases.
Late Phases is spectacular. Yes.
Late Phases is a great one.
What's the one?
Okay.
Is it called Where? Is it one Where that's pretty decent? But yeah.
Teen Wolf, obviously. Yes. People are like, "Oh, he's forgetting Teen Wolf." I am forgetting Teen Wolf. So here we go then. Here's the list, right? American Werewolf in London, The Howling, the original Wolfman, the Universal one, the Oliver Reed, Curse of the Werewolf, Dog Soldiers, Silver Bullet, Teen Wolf, Bad Moon. Then you start to, Late Phases, Ginger Snaps, and then, then you start, Wolfen. I forgot Wolfen. Wolfen's a great one.
Wolfen's a great wolf film that's not about wolves at all.
Not about wolves at all. Wolf Cop, I suppose. You could throw that in there. But again, like, we're still in like 10 or 15 territory. We're not even up to the 30 or whatever you said that they're, you know what I mean? So I'm just, unless you start counting, as you said, like Monster Squad and things, but technically not a werewolf movie. Werewolves on Wheels is like a nice, cheesy, stupid movie, but again, you're not putting that up there as a great werewolf movie.
There's plenty of them. There's a lot of them,
right?
But like 20 to 25 good ones,
right?
I mentioned one to you that you should check out called Howl, which is because Sean.
Oh yeah, I want to see that on a.
It's a werewolf on a train. Now, if you put a werewolf in a nice little place like that, you're gonna have fun with it. And I have a lot of fun with Howl. I would put that up there, but not like top 10 or anything.
Right.
I think Bad Moon is a much more efficient film that's done, again, kids, in 80 minutes. It's done in 80 minutes.
It's the sweet spot for horror. I'm telling you, the kind of horror films I like, anything over I'm going to go on record and say anything over 100 minutes and you're fucking it. And I'll tell you why, is because horror movies, and I think we've had this conversation before, maybe Gary, or maybe I talked about it on another show, but like horror movies, like comedies, are about reactions, right? You want to get either scares or laughs, right? That's what you want. And they've literally done screenings to prove this. But humans can only laugh so much, and we can only be scared so much before we either get bored or we get like laughed out. And it's around about 45 minutes mark. It's why most horror movies will have scenes of relaxation, right? They'll have a daytime scene. Like if it's a particularly nighttime driven horror movie, they'll have a daytime scene. Or if it's a particularly like family driven horror movie, they'll have a scene around the dinner table where everything's all right and nothing's going on. It's because you need that bit to relax before you can then like get scared again. And so or get excited again, or get interested again, or whatever. And we're talking like 45, 50 minutes. We're not talking hours and hours and hours. And it's not about attention span. It's about how long you can feel emotions. Even when you get super angry and have like a mad fight with someone and you storm out and fucking whatever it is and you storm off, after about 20 minutes, you start to go, oh, I'm such a fucking jerk. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. Because your emotions change. Like, we're not meant to sit there for 3 hours attempting to try and scare people. It's just not, it's not possible. So, anyway, another one that I watched recently, Gary, that I liked was, sorry, comment on that first. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it's later on stuff. Go ahead.
No, I was saying one that I watched again recently, which was Wes Craven's attempt at a werewolf movie, which was ripped from him by the studio and absolutely butchered. But I still kind of quite enjoyed it in a sort of post-Scream cheese fest type way, and that's Cursed with Christina Ricci. And everyone's now weirdly sudden hunky heartthrob Joshua Jackson, who's suddenly come back into the mainstream again.
I've never seen the director's cut, and I think I owe myself to do that because he's one of those ones that had the luxury of having the theatrical cut come out and then having the director's cut come out as well. So I've never seen but the theatrical one. So I'm curious on this director's cut of Cursed. Will I like it better? Because the theater experience was bad,
So does the Cursed collector's edition that Scream Factory are selling, does that have the director's never seen before version then?
I think it does. I'm going to confirm that very soon here.
Well, so it has what they call a theatrical cut, which is the one I've seen, and then unrated cut, which I've got to assume is the quote unquote director's cut. But
yeah, it is unrated. I don't think it's directed.
Oh no, it says, please note the unrated cut is not the original Craven cut of the film.
Okay,
featuring different actors in the roles. We tried.
Then I don't associate myself with Curse then.
Yeah, I don't even know if the Craven cut, did it ever came out?
I doubt it did. That's why they had to say that. Like, here's some additional gore. It's like the additional gore they released in the directors or the unrated cut of Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just a little more blood, people. That's all it is. It's not like
that's all it is. Yeah,
nothing significant or anything.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that Dimension, the horrible Weinsteins, basically took the movie away from him and forced reshoots and forced different effect shots and blah 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 blah. In fact, talking about CGI fucking with a movie, Rick Baker had done a whole shit ton of practical effects for Cursed, only for the idiot Weinsteins and the sexual pervert Weinstein to throw all the practical effects by fucking Rick Baker out the window and instead like CGI that shit. So again, I would put Cursed to me is it's an interesting watch. It's not a great film. It's an interesting watch because they took Craven, this master of horror, and fucked with him, and you should never do that. And
speaking of Weinsteins, it was announced today, not werewolf related, but the Wayans brothers have the rights to the Scary Movie franchise back again, so they're going to make more of them. So that's a victory for us, I think.
It is, but I don't know that I need more of those. A couple of B movie werewolves that, again, I would kind of go third tier rather than second tier. But Wolf Cop and an even lesser seen one, Bubba the Redneck Werewolf.
Yes.
If you're into comedy, sex and gore, C tier B movies, I would check those two out.
Based on the comic book, I met the creator of the comic book a long time ago.
Oh, me too, man. Yeah, I met Bubba. In fact, he was the first one to give me both the comic book and the DVD back in the day.
Yeah, long ago I met him, and yeah, that was something. But yeah, very fun stuff though.
The one I haven't seen, which is surprising because I'm such a Larry Cohen mark, is Larry Cohen's harken back to I Was a Teenage Werewolf, Full Moon High from 1981.
Got Bill Kirchenbauer in that movie.
Never seen it.
It's fun. It's fun comedy.
But again, that's most of the werewolf movies that I would recommend people watch that aren't, as we talked about, like ensemble movies like Monster Squad or whatever, that have a werewolf in it. I quite liked Werewolves Within. I thought that was a pretty decent horror comedy.
That's very fun.
Plus, your lady from the AT&T ads is a little beautiful. So it's always nice to watch her on screen, especially as she got a role in that movie as a bigger role than she normally gets. What's her name in Milana Weintraub?
Oh, I don't know. I've probably seen her. I just don't even know.
She's kind of cute and fun. And then you've got Sam Richardson, of course, who's from. They just put it out on Netflix, the Detroiters series, which is actually from about 6 years ago, but it just hit Netflix, so I've been watching that again. He's hilarious.
Nice.
But yeah, I quite liked Werewolves Within. I thought that was a pretty fun movie. But again, like werewolf movies these days, I think they err on the campy side because I think they kind of think that werewolves are a little passé or something these days. I don't know. And they try and like hit some comedy with it just to kind of cover up the fact that they're making a werewolf movie. I'd like to see a truly like NC-17 rated, gritty, dark, 80s style fucking badass werewolf movie. Like Dog Soldiers was, you know what I mean?
Like I love now though, that amongst all the bad werewolf films, the ones that are not very serviceable, you see it on a shelf at your Walmart, and it's not gonna be not very good. You get a film like Late Phases, which is just different enough to say, hey, I enjoyed the hell because it was just different enough where if you haven't seen it before, it involves werewolves who are they're way past their prime. Yeah. So they're older werewolves, and there's a plot point in the movie, and it's brilliant. It's a brilliant piece of filming because it's different. I'm sure once American Werewolf in London came out, a film like Full Moon Fever came out. Like this is 81. So I'd imagine was Werewolf in London 80?
No, they both Werewolf in London and The Howling came out at the same time. So like literally back to back, and I think they're both 1981.
We had a film like this though, which is it's a spoof. Don't get me wrong, but you can laugh at it. By the way, Ed McMahon, Adam and Alan Arkin, Bill Kirchenbauer, DeMond Wilson from Sanford and Son is in this movie. Pat Morita is in this movie, which if you just know him as Miyagi, you're missing out because the man was a comedic genius. Old Pat Morita right there, and
he was fantastic, yeah.
And it's just I can enjoy the cheese with my werewolf film too, because
100%. But I also think that I always think of Late Phases as kind of like the Bubba Hotep werewolf movie. It treats the aging thing like with some honesty and some emotion.
Yeah, for sure.
And a shout out to Nick D'Amici, who is a horror actor, writer, producer that I do not think gets enough fucking credit. I know that whole sort of Your Next crew of young horror filmmakers that obviously Ty West has become one of the most popular ones, but the Ted Gagans and the Ty West and those guys who made those movies have become kind of the new sort of indie darlings of horror. But Nick D'Amici has been doing great shit ever since Stakeland. I mean, talk about like a little bit under the radar vampire movie, Stakeland. Yeah. I absolutely loved Stakeland. And then obviously he would go on to do Late Phases, which is also known Night of the Wolf. He's in a groovy little horror movie called Dark Was the Night. They've made sequels to Stakeland, The Stakelander, and Stakeland Origins, which is a TV series. He was in a couple of other, The Sacrament he was in. So he's, weird enough, there's that crossover between kind of Ty West. He was in a Ty West joint. Obviously, AJ Bowen is another one who's sort of done some writing and some acting as well. So like there's some cool little indie horror movie guys out there who are trying to do something different with the different genres. And again, I have to say, like, you think about The Howling, you think about Late Phases, you think about Bad Moon, you think about Silver Bullet. These are movies that take the werewolf mythos and like do something original with them. Like, if the case of The Howling, it's like this sort of rich cult that meets in the California hills, right? Bad Moon, as we said, it's sort of dog versus werewolf. Late Phases, it's like, well, what would happen to a werewolf if they managed to live to a ripe old age? Things like this. It's these kind of things
you get a bit of that, and one of my favorite parts of The Howling is the old man werewolf who can't use his teeth anymore.
Yeah, of course. It's
that's Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens is in there, but there's also oh my goodness, Carradine. Not David, the other one.
John
Carradine, who was in like 1,000 movies.
Yes.
But John Carradine plays an old werewolf in The Howling, yeah.
One name that wasn't mentioned amongst the indie darlings of new horror directors is Mike Flanagan, who's probably the most successful at all of them. And I wish, during this whole conversation, one thing I would take away from it is that since he's so successful, maybe he should, and he's doing good stuff with Stephen King, but get off Stephen King's dick for a while and write us a good werewolf movie, Mike Flanagan, and direct us one. I would love to see that. Just to say, hey, you know what? These fucking douchebags on the internet, they're saying some shit about werewolf films. Let me prove them wrong and make something interesting. No,
completely. I have to say, I was, The Haunting of Hill House was fine. I like Gerald's Game. The Haunting of Hill House was fine. Dr. Sleep, I was not a fan of. I wasn't a fan of
the ending, but the execution before that I thought was great.
Oh,
the whole shoehorn the Overlook stuff in there. I wasn't a big fan of that.
No, again, the recreation of sort of the Kubrick bit of The Shining was very nice. The rest of it couldn't care less. Like the woman with the hat and all that. And I know people are screaming at me being like, what are you talking about? But again, Mike Flanagan, if you're listening to these two douchebags talking about werewolf movies, 2 hours and 32 minutes. I'm going to fall asleep. I just don't fucking care. Talk about Dr. Sleep. I wanted to sleep through 90% of it. Stop making 2 hour, 30-minute horror movies. Fuck you. Stop it. Show me you can make a 90-minute horror movie that scares the bejesus out of it and scares the bejesus out of me and shows me you can do something different. Then I'll let you go ahead and make the 2 hour, 32 bloated epic. But show me you can make the fucking 85-minute thing. Because if you can't show me you can do that, I'm back to Eric Red and being like, he knows how to fucking make a movie.
In 80 minutes, using the setting, which is British Columbia, by the way, so that's not like the real Pacific, but still, it looks like that. Use the setting, uses a small cast to everything to his advantage.
Yep.
To come out an amazing animal actors to a fitting conclusion to this film and a fitting execution of this film. And I have to mention one more werewolf film that's a seasonal watch, and it's feature length. Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, where Shaggy becomes the werewolf. I watch that every fucking year. It's on the list, and I think that it deserves to be amongst some of the greatest werewolf films of all time. You
Dude,
know,
listen. Any mention of Scooby Doo, and I'm there with you. Scooby Doo is the right thing. You're speaking my language, and I'm all over that shit.
Have you seen that?
I quite agree.
Have you seen this?
What the
In the Reluctant Wolf?
Reluctant Werewolf? Yes, I have. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just double checking. Like, put it on your list, man. Come on, you know.
No, I've seen most of the Scooby Doo. In fact, it's weird. There was, again, talking about VHS collecting. There were all those people who were like, Disney VHS, man, they're worth thousands. They're not, by the way. They're not worth more than 10 cents. They're really not worth more than 10 cents. But the only reason I scour the big clamshell Disney-sized tape cassettes in a Goodwill or a Savers or whatever discount store I'm in is because I'm looking for those Scooby-Doo movies, man. Those full-length animated Scooby-Doo movies. So I have a ton of those, dude, on the big clamshells because I'm not selling them, dude. I'm just that big a fan of Scooby-Doo.
Hey, bro, I got that version of Little Mermaid. I got 10 copies of where you can clearly see the priest boner in the wedding scene. I got like 10 copies of it, bro.
Yeah,
$150 each. It's bad with the Laserdisc market too, because I buy them for what I buy them for, and like record stores and like guys who are inexperienced are checking eBay for the prices. Remember, kids, it's the price somebody will pay for it, and the price what you're gonna get for it. Okay, is also
right.
Yeah.
I literally have people who come to my store trying to sell me Disney VHS, and when I look at them and I go, look, I really don't want to buy these, but if I do, I'm going to give you like 20 cents a piece for them. They always go, but dude, didn't like one sell for like 15 grand on eBay? I said, if it did, it sold to an idiot, because these aren't, every time you go into a Goodwill, what do you see? 1,000 Disney Black Diamond VHS. So you're not telling me that they're worth anything. Every single Goodwill from here to fucking Los Angeles and everywhere in between has fucking rows and rows and rows of Disney Black Diamond clamshells. They're not worth anything. You cannot sell them. The only people who are really buying and dealing in VHS at this point are either teens or early 20-somethings who are looking to kind of get into the shit that their parents are into, and they're looking to like live a bit of an analog life outside of all this digital hoopla, or it's people like you and me, Gary, of our age group, middle-aged guys who are like, I just want cool shit on VHS because streaming is full of annoying shit. That's all that's buying VHS. People are not buying VHS for their kids. They're not buying Disney VHS for their children. You know what I mean? So when I go into a Goodwill or a Savers or name your secondhand purveyor of choice, I'm always looking for the Scooby-Doo clamshells because that's all I care about.
It's the same thing with toy resellers, okay? People want to buy their childhood back.
Right.
So they'll spend $260 on an open box Castle Grayskull just to say, hey, I had this when I was 6, and now I have it again.
Right.
You know? Same thing with VHS. Hey, this was, like, I can tell you, the first VHS I owned that was mine was the Ninja Turtles 2 movie. So if I find a VHS of that to say, hey, I'm going to buy it for a nostalgia purpose, to say, hey, this was the first VHS that was mine. So this is why I have this one VHS, you know.
Oh, I agree, man. I totally agree. And I'm looking through Eric Red's biography or IMDb page, rather. I'm looking through Eric Red's IMDb page, and the man has some great credits, especially as a writer. Mm-hmm. Whether it's The Hitcher, Near Dark, Cohen and Tate, Blue Steel, Body Parts, Bad Moon, but also as a director. And while I've seen Body Parts and I've seen Cohen and Tate and I've seen The Hitcher, obviously, and Bad Moon, I want to see some of the other ones, even the ones that the old TV movies he's been making. I want to check those out. And
the one with Mickey Rourke sounds really good. The Last Outlaw, whatever it is. Yeah,
that sounds great. And it's got 6.1 on IMDb, so why not? But what I love about it is when you play Eric Red's demo reel, it's all titties. Titties and gore, dude. Titties and gore. Like, it's so funny, like right on IMDb, like there's not even a age check or anything like that. Like, you just turn it on and it's just like Titties and gore, man. Did he make a Invisible Man movie? What's this Invisible Man movie with Famke Janssen in it?
I don't know. I don't know what this is. But you mentioned Conan Tate. I'm gonna go back to your VHS thing again because this is a film my parents used to watch. You know.
Yeah.
So back then I did appreciate stuff like Adam Baldwin and Roy Scheider in a movie together. But now I do. So you go back to things like this, and I think that and Blue Steel are two of the most underappreciated films of their kinds. And he wrote those movies. Eric Red did. So
he did.
Yeah.
And by the way, the movie is called 100 Feet. It stars Famke Janssen and Bobby Cannavale, who is now in everything. You literally can't make anything in Hollywood now without Bobby Cannavale. That's a rule. You have to put Bobby Cannavale in a movie. And it is after Marnie Watson kills her abusive husband in self-defense, she is condemned to house arrest, only to discover that the house is possessed by the enraged and violent spirit of her dead husband. Again, he just knows how to write one set taut horror films that have a beginning, middle, and end, but don't need to blow the budget out of the water to make a good fucking movie. You know what I mean?
As long as it doesn't turn into The Entity, I'm in. Because The Entity is a film I saw one time. It was a good film, but I never need to watch it ever again because it was uncomfortable. Okay, you know.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree, man. I agree. But no, I'm now considering myself an Eric Red fan, and I need to see 100 Feet because he makes good 90-minute horror movies that have got titties, gore, and mad concepts. He's kind of, I tell you what, Eric Red has got a little bit of the Larry Cohen thing. He knows how to write a concept. He knows how to go, I'm going to take a really cool concept and just ABC, 3-act structure, 90 minutes, boom, boom, boom. And I love it. So I'm very excited by it.
Oh my gosh. Any of your last thoughts on Bad Moons here? We should wrap this up and going for a while now. You know.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm not editing any of this out, by the way. It's just all
I think it's all gold, man. I think we've had a great conversation. I don't think there's been any gaps or madness in it. Bad Moon, I'm giving it a strong 4.5 out of 5. On the Pare scale, I think it's some of his best work. He's emotional. He's cocky. He's weird. He's cool. He's laid back, he's fearful, he's fearless, he's everything. He does some great work in this movie. I would have loved to have seen Pare on the back of this do a lot more. I would have loved to see a Pare Jekyll and Hyde movie. Like, I think he has that in him. And instead of like a big monstrous Hyde, like it's just Pare with some of the makeup that he wears at the end of this movie as the wolf guy, because I think he'd be fucking good at that. I really love this movie, and
he's of high age too. I think he could pull it off now. You know,
I agree, man. I fully agree. Like, whoever is out there listening to this, make the Michael Pare Jekyll and Hyde movie that we've all been waiting for, and maybe have him team up with Russell Crowe's Jekyll and Hyde, and just make it 2 Jekylls, 2 Hydes.
Yeah, crazy.
But great effects. I love dogs, so any movie. Oh. Last thing, Michael Pare was compared to Jim Belushi when it came to how he handled working with the dog. Eric Red said that the person who handled the dog, said to Eric Red, the only other actor that they had seen work so effortlessly with a dog was Mr. James Belushi, sir, in one of my favorite man and dog movies, K9. That doesn't get enough love either.
He made like 3 of those. So I'd imagine by the time he got past the first one, even into the first one, he kind of knew his way around an animal. And it does show, the chemistry does show in that movie.
Belushi has, I don't know if it's been exclusive, but Belushi still to this day has 2 or 3 German Shepherds. He has kept, Belushi has those as his dogs ever since K9. And even this day, if you follow him online, he has dogs right now.
Does he blow Belushi bong hits in their face, though? That's all I really want to know.
Of course, man. He's probably developing pup cups full of weed right as we speak. You know what I mean? He's developing Listen. Belushi is all about the weed right now, and I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of Belushi in general. He's touring with his little comedy troupe. He does his Blues Brothers shit with Dan Aykroyd. They're all fat. They're over the hill. They've got no talent, but it's a lot of fun, and I love it. And it's exciting, and it's weird, and it's wonderful. He's got his little Discovery TV show, Growing Belushi, in which he's a total goofball from start to finish. He's arguing with everybody. It's fantastic. But no, Belushi apparently was the only other person that the dog trainer had seen who had effortless ease with a German Shepherd in the way that Michael Pare did. So, the only question is, why is Pare not bigger in people's thoughts? And you and I, Gary, we're going to solve that over the next 35 years as we cover every single one of Michael Pare's movies.
Yeah, indeed. No, I think, he deserves a lot of roses, and this is one of those roles that they got him there because he shows his humbleness, he shows his sinisterness, all in one. If sinister, they didn't even worry, I don't even care, but all in one film, and I think he pulls it off incredibly well, and that comes from being an auteur like himself to where even. I mean, he kicked off his career just about with Eddie and the Cruisers, and he had to command an audience with that role.
Right?
He is the Eddie of the Eddie and the Cruisers. So he learned early on with that in Streets of Fire and a couple of select ones that he is the captain of this ship, and he is the captain of Bad Moon, because without him and good old Thor there, having their combativeness, you wouldn't have a movie in a great creature, of course,
I agree, and again, it's proof, if ever was needed, that while the effects in this movie are top drawer, I love the look of the werewolf, I love the werewolf fights, I love the gore, I love all that stuff. This movie survives on two things, I think. First of all, the performances, specifically Pare, but secondly, the direction of Eric Red. By extension, the cinematography, because it's a beautiful looking movie. It's a beautiful looking movie considering the budget and everything. There's some great, would be helicopter shots back then, but what we would call drone shots now of the Great Northwest, and the locations are great, and the airstream, and then you get your little Dennis the Menace Rushmore sequence where he's busting the dog out of the pound, and I feel like that kid always does. I feel like in those movies that kid is always doing kind of daring do, or doing that stuff that you're not meant to do as a kid, but he does it anyway. You know what I mean? I love that little sequence where the dog's just like, oh, I see a truck I can use to jump over the fence. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go fucking get the werewolf. It's great, man. I love it.
You don't need that kid no more, but if I give this a rating, I give it a 4 heavily red meat induced urine streams out of 5.
100%. And I'm looking forward to delving into more Pare and being knocked up in the Pare way, sir. Going forward with you. I know that, for example, I have, is it Into the Sun, the action plane Top Gun ripoff or whatever? I have that one on VHS, I think.
Yeah, that exists with Anthony Michael Hall. The next one that we're doing, I think we mentioned on the episode's going to come out next for your show is
Dragon Fight.
No, we do that Dragon Fight, and then the next one is an 80s somewhat classic with an 80s rock star to boot. So we'll talk about that when we get to that bridge. But yeah, Bad Moon is a good time. It deserves your love. It's on Prime. It's on. Would you watch it? Peacock?
Peacock. Yeah, it's on Peacock Uncut as far as I'm aware. I think it's even on, Tubi and Freevee and all those ones as well.
Yeah, so go seek it out, man. I think it's definitely worth your time, and again, great time. Top 20 of the very thin list of werewolf films of all time.
We covered a whole gamut here, dude. We talked about all of the werewolves, so I'm very happy about that.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's the end of this one. And we'll be right back to close out the show.
The game Nightmare, the game hosted by a video.
I am the gatekeeper!
To win, you must stop him.
Roll the dice!
The video board game Nightmare, the gatekeeper talks to you.
Whose turn is it next?
And you must answer him.
Answer me!
Yes, my gatekeeper.
Go for it!
Nightmare, a race against time for 3 to 6 very game players.
Let's party!
They're coming to your neighborhood.
You're not the pizza guy.
Zombies ate my neighbors! Now playing on Sega Genesis and Super NES, a 55-level feeding frenzy of fine-cut creature features, fending off bee-moving maniacs with your weed whackers, exploding soda pop, and boozy squirt gun. Save the neighbors! Or they're dead meat. Zombies ate my neighbors! From Konami.
All right, folks, that's been the show. Yeah, it's been great to hang out with you guys and this post-Halloween extravaganza, if you will. Special thanks to Jeffrey X. Martin and John Cross for joining me on this this reckless ride with these 2 great reviews and some great discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope your guys' Halloween season has went splendidly, watching all those fucking flicks and seeing all the kids in their costumes and dress up yourself and possibly having too much to drink. You know, to each their own. I can't really do it anymore, but yeah. Next up on this show, you should be hearing we're in talks of doing like a potluck November, to where we bring a film that we love to the table that we're thankful for. And odds are I'm going to make my co-host watch something stupid, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's 2 shows in November for Sin Beef, 3 reviews, one from each of our regular co-hosts, and probably another episode with myself and John Cross. The crossover episode between the diner and our show, which should be World Gone Wild. I think that's what it's called. That's the parade joint, and David Hasselhoff and John Saxon and Bo Hopkins in The Last Alliance. Can't wait to talk both those films with John. That's the next thing you should hear on this feed as far as that goes. But yeah, thanks for all your support and all this time, man. Two major things I got to discuss. Milestones are important. My friends at Land of the Creeps are celebrating their 400th episode coming very soon. Go to the Facebook group, download them, support them. Bill, Pearl, Gregor Mortis, and Dr. Shock Dave Becker killing it. 400 episodes, nothing to shake a stick at. And speaking of nothing to shake a stick at, I have 2 more of my podcast gurus, mentors, friends of celluloid, if you will. Will and Sammy over there at the Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema, celebrating 700 episodes. 700 episodes. Celebrated with Hellraiser, a review of Hellraiser. Those guys are always supportive of everybody. Never seem bigger than they are, but 700 episodes, again, is an amazing, amazing milestone, as is 400 for Land of the Creeps. You guys should be supporting these people. Support your local sheriff, your local podcaster. Anybody who's trying to put their name out there, support them. Of course, I always tell folks in this podcasting game, in the first 10 episodes, you're going to be terrible. But keep on keeping on, and you still might be terrible, but you know what? You have more confidence on the microphone. And that's always what's important at the end of the day, is that you have confidence in what you're doing, and you love what you're doing, because I always tell folks, if it felt like work, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be doing this at all. It never feels like work with the great folks that I work with. That include the ones who heard in this show. And Suzanne, of course, and Jamie, and Iris, and whoever else chooses to spend their time making dick and fart jokes with yours truly. Big loving family here at Cindy Podcast. I'm always proud of that. But this is where I'll leave you. Have a great holiday season. Have a great spooky season if you let it continue like I am. I'll be watching more and more flicks, because they're like leftovers, people. You can't stop eating them until they go away. Yeah, from my heart and the rest of my co-host's heart, I have to say this has been your Sin Beef Podcast, where if you've got beef, we've got the grinder. See you next time.